Um, let me first introduce how things are going to go. I want to first introduce how things are going to go. This is an emergency hangout. I didn't want to. This was going to be a standard hangout, but based on where things are right now, in terms of Arsenal Football Club, I felt that it was important to address this because the emergency hangouts come for when things get serious. That's how emergency hangouts happen. They're when things get extremely serious and where it calls for a particular type of intervention. So this is the table as of right now. Arsenal are currently in 10th position with 30 games played. They're currently in 10th position with 30 games played. And behind them are Burnley and Everton. So and this is unlikely because Burnley are facing Man City, so it's unlikely. But if Everton beats Liverpool, which is unlikely, Arsenal could slip further down. So, because we're going to talk about Benzema, we want to talk about Griezmann, and also talk about Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. But I think the first thing that we have to address is Arsenal Football Club. And now I don't know about you guys, but I'm not here for jokes. We've joked, we've laughed, we've done all those various kinds of things. I think what I want are solutions. Because people watch us. This is one of the most highly rated football shows on the planet. And this being one of the most highly rated football shows on the planet, we have a duty to the millions who watch us to try and be as professional as we can. Because yes, we can have the jokes, we can have the laughs. What is happening to Arsenal Football Club right now? This is worrying. This is desperation. And I wanted to talk about Arsenal Football Club. I wanted to talk about Arteta because someone made a comment on Twitter to me. And this guy said, my tweet was, I don't think Arteta is the right man for this Arsenal situation. He's a good coach, young coach. They need an experienced hand for the situation at Arsenal right now. And this guy said, I don't know anything about football. I lack knowledge. And Arteta came in during a serious crisis, and it would have been hard for any manager. That is when a clown is talking. You're so clownish. You're so defensive that you can't take a step back and say, okay, what is the best thing for my club? You're just a fanboy. And because you're a sad, demoted fanboy, all you can do is just be defensive because I will double down. Arteta is a really good coach. This was the wrong job for him. This was the wrong job for him right now because unless Arsenal fans are prepared to wait 5 years in the wilderness and a 5-year rebuilding job, if you're happy to do that, cool. But I don't think Arsenal fans can say that they're happy for, because this could be longer than 5 years. You may say you're happy to wait for 5, 6, 7 years, but when you're actually having to suffer for 6, 7 years while other guys are winning, that's when it will pain you. Because for a very long time, Arsenal have known success or near success and have been competing for either a Premier League or European crown. But as of right now, these guys are not even thinking of like, I think it was on Monday when Ramsey, Arsenal fans said, "Oh my gosh, no, we won't even make Europa," and it's true. They may not even make Europa. So let me come first to eye test before stats. So eye test before stats. In your view, if you just pinpoint one thing, what has been the biggest issue for Arsenal? Is it the manager? Is it the players? Is it the transfers? What has been the biggest issue for why Arsenal are having a horrible, horrendous season and may have probably one of their worst finishes to a Premier League season for as long as I can remember?
The underspending and the decision making at the club. I said this on the last show. Every season we hear about Arsenal are linked to Coutinho, Kante, this guy, that guy. Then they get a random guy from Sweden like Xhaka, like they get David Luiz from Chelsea. We always hear these big names, but then they end up with these dead ballers. I think that's the issue. And another thing I want to say is Wenger. Wenger was a good manager for me. He was getting Arsenal in a top 4 place consistently with
How
Maro and
bad?
Cham.
No, don't get it because I want to bring Wenger. Don't touch Wenger yet because don't bring because that's a separate topic. But please don't bring Wenger. But just focus on what. So what is the key issue? If you could just pinpoint one issue, what is the key issue for Arsenal? If you could just pinpoint one.
The key issue is the spending and the decision making. We always hear these big names, then they buy dead ballers, they buy crap. That's what I think the issue is.
Okay. What's it called? Erhan, for you, what do you think the biggest issue is with Arsenal?
Before I obviously get to that, I just want to say that today is one of the most beautiful days in football history. Neil Mopay, you are a hero for millions of people around the world. You've given us one of the best AFTV and channels of all time, and for that, I give you 1,000 thanks, sir. But yeah, in terms of Arsenal, I mean the whole club from top to bottom, man, they're completely like. If you look at the board, we see like Kroenke, this guy literally he cares more about his franchises in America than he does about Arsenal. Like, I don't think he's
Erhan, what's happening in the background, man? Are you in a party? There's a
I'm
lot
not sure
happening
if that's
in the background. Okay,
I'm not sure if
on.
that's me.
All right, carry on.
But yeah, so yeah, like they have a careless owner first and foremost, who I don't think he's ever been to an actual game in his life. So that's not a good starting point. And then furthermore, you look at the coaching staff, like like that guy they brought from Barcelona, Raul Saneni or whatever his name is. He was responsible for the transfer of David Luiz. I mean, if you're bringing in washed up, Chelsea rejects, like players who literally have nothing to offer, like I don't know what you're expecting. Their recruitment's a complete shambles. You can see the staff. Obviously, they brought in Arteta as manager. Like, I don't understand why you would go for someone who's literally never had a job in a senior role. Assistant manager is all cool, but you're literally just your side man. You're just standing there next to the main guy, and you're just giving words of encouragement. You're not doing anything major. You're not actually making any decisions. So, in my opinion, I know it might sound crazy, but I would have rather seen a manager like Sam Allardyce at Arsenal over Arteta, because listen, Sam Allardyce, at least he can work with scraps. Like, he knows how to get, the best out of a complete terrible squad. We saw it with Sunderland. He literally saved one of the worst teams in Premier League history. So they should stop going on your high horse, Arsenal fans, because you guys are a mid-table team now. That's the reality. You're not. It's not the invincible days where we're invincible. We won the league. I was literally in nappies in those days. Those days are over. You just need to see the reality.
So
your club is
so what do you say is the main issue for specifically for this season? What would you say is the main issue for why they've done so badly this season?
This season it hasn't been the recruitment, because obviously they brought in the likes of Nicolas Pepe, so you can't really blame the recruitment. I think it's mentality. They're so spineless. You see these guys on the pitch, as soon as they concede a goal, they're so flat. They can't respond. They left all of their energy to the full-time whistle, where they were trying to grapple Mopay at the throat. They were going on him. Where was that energy in the game? These guys are they're a complete mess. I hope they get relegated in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, just screw Arsenal.
Wow. Speaking of real, man. Yeah. All right. So LB, Arsenal, man. What is the issue, man? What is the big issue with Arsenal, man? Why have they been so trash?
I think the big issue with Arsenal there's a couple of issues. One is the players in which they bring to the club. I don't really see any logic behind buying players such as the likes of David Luiz, and in the past players like Ozil and Sanchez. Obviously, those two players have been quality in the past for the clubs that they used to play for, I think it was Barcelona for Sanchez and for Real Madrid in Ozil. But if you really think about it, it was when they sort of made the transfer over to Arsenal that their best football had already been played at their previous clubs.
Okay, so you're saying that Arsenal are getting players past their peak?
Past their peak, yeah, that's right.
I mean, was Ozil past his peak when they got him? I don't think so.
I think he certainly hasn't lived up to the expectation at Arsenal, though. There's no doubt that he helped Real Madrid win. No, he wasn't part of the 2014 Champions League side, but he did very well at Real Madrid. And the same thing for Sanchez as well. They've certainly underachieved at Arsenal. But as I said, a lot of these players, in my opinion, I think have been sort of past their peak when they've moved to Arsenal. David Luiz as well. I mean, as a footballer, I think he's finished.
Yeah, that was, and it was a signing that I warned people about. Arsenal fans were rejoicing, and I said, "You've signed the brick," but they wanted to rejoice. Now you see.
And in terms of the mentality, like the previous person was saying, that as soon as they concede goals, they've got absolutely no resilience. Their heads go down, and then they continuously concede goals. And this has been the case for many years now. And, at least when Wenger was there, he was doing something with them. He was, apart from getting battered 10-2 in aggregate in the Champions League, he was still getting them into the top 4. Whereas now they're sitting 10th. So they've got real problems. I reckon it's an ultimate low for Arsenal, to be honest.
Okay, man. Okay. Yasir Saeed, man. Arsenal, man. What has been a big issue for them this season? What if you could pinpoint it to one problem?
Easy, simple as I think everyone has mentioned this already. The most the number one thing is not the players. It is the players. It is the managers. But the number one thing is the mentality, and it's always been there since the Wenger days. Like Arsenal, today's game, how they lost the game when they're 1-0 up. They went 1-0 up and lost the game. It makes look. You know what's crazy, right? The guy Mope, the guy that scored the winning goal, is the same guy who scored the winning goal the first time they played. They played in December. I looked it up. He scored the winning goal. He did this twice.
Wow.
And at the end, he came out and said, "You know what?" And then he had an interview, and he literally told him, "So yeah, Arsenal players, you guys need a little humility. You guys need a little humility because you guys were talking all this crap, and yeah, that you guys just needed to be more humility." And he literally shut him up. It's like it's the audacity. And we talk about this guy plays for Brighton. We're not talking about a City. We're not talking about Spurs. This guy's talking plays for Brighton.
No.
And
But look, Side, we are trying to be helpful here. Don't stick the knife further into the wound. The knife is already into the wound. Because we are trying to be helpful to Arsenal. So what is the biggest issue? Because if we identify the issue, then we can maybe try to solve it. So what is the one biggest issue for what Arsenal have done this season and why they've been so bad? What is the issue?
I believe Arsenal needs a whole revamp. So their issue for me was my biggest problem is like, why did you get a manager like Arteta? They need a manager that literally has passion, that's kind of a lunatic, like a Simeone, like a Antonio Conte, a manager that players would be like, oh, you know what? This is not the type of manager to like we gotta play. We have to show up. Like a manager that will literally like come at them, like a manager that the fans will back, but at the same time will not take nonsense from no one. Arteta is a rookie. I mean, well, look at the mess he has. Look at the problem with Ozil. Look at he's on 350K and he doesn't even play. The dude doesn't play. What the heck? And you have Aubameyang. Why is Aubameyang your captain? He's about to leave. He's planning to leave, and you give him the captaincy. What? The guy is contemplating on signing a contract.
They give him the captaincy because they're using that to try and keep him. Because if you have that kind of responsibility, we then love you. So
that's stupidity. You give a man the captain always has to be not only a leader, but the guy who actually is the representative of your club. Like the guy that you can say, I can rely on this guy for the next 5 or 6, 7 years. Not a guy that says, you know what, I don't know if I should sign a contract or not. What kind of nonsense is that? Like literally, Koscielny left your club and he was your captain. Xhaka literally threw the shirt down on the ground and said, "Screw you guys." And then now Aubameyang is contemplating a signing contract. This is your.
It's a fair point.
Okay. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so Mr. Q, Caster there. So what would you think is a major issue for what Arsenal have been suffering?
Bro, like Arsenal is such a joke club. They should be banned from the Premier League, dude. Like legit. Look look at this season. Look at the first two games of this season. Arsenal had the right mentality and they had the right formation and that. Liverpool, that was the third game at Anfield. They did well. I think the formation and the mentality is Arsenal's problem, and Red Devil can back me up on this. I think 1 week before the Premier League, I said Arsenal will not be fit and they're gonna get absolutely battered in the first two games. Red Devil can back me up on that. Arsenal, I think Mikel Arteta is a very inexperienced coach.
So what's the main issue? What's the main issue? If you say what's the main problem? The
main issue at Arsenal is they're underachieving and their mentality. Arsenal should be a Champions League club with that squad, with that front three, with that. Even look at the defense. Tierney's a good player.
Wait. So you're saying that squad should be a Champions League squad? That's what you're trying to tell me?
No. Look at this season. At the start of this season, I was actually expecting them because they were actually playing good against the small clubs and all that, and they did well against Liverpool. That's when I expected them. And the mentality has cost them, and the managers every changing as well has cost them. Look, I think Arsenal is probably 5 years before they ever get Champions League. I've lost my faith in that club. Of course, I'm a United fan, but I love to banter them. But like, there's no point.
Okay.
It's actually pretty sad now.
Okay. All right. Jamal. First of all, Jamal, you can be quite. Okay, sorry. Before I come to Jamal, let me just read some super chats. So from Just Best and says that, how bad was Wenger really? We will get there. We'll talk about Wenger. Also, Rashford better than Aubameyang and Lacazette. Rashford is not a better.
Rashford future goal.
Wait, bro, relax. The heck? So Rashford is a better all-round footballer. Aubameyang, in terms of just finishing, Aubameyang is a better finisher. So you have to always qualify these things in terms of what? I think Rashford gives you more, and I think he's a better dribbler and much more skillful, and he can do more across the pitch. But in terms of just pure finishing, Aubameyang is one of the coldest finishers in the world. Lacazette, I think Lacazette is under review. Lacazette is currently under review, so that's different. Guys, like the vid. Just because you anything, drop a like that vid. Jamal, you're very rude, and it can be very disrespectful. So Jamal, I am begging you, can you please, in a respectful way, respecting Arsenal Football Club that has a storied history since the 1800s, can you respectfully tell me what is the one thing that Arsenal have done wrong that is making me look at them 10th between Crystal Palace and Burnley?
Yeah, I will be respectful.
Yeah, right.
Arsenal's biggest problem is their transfer policy. They need to stop buying Chelsea agents. First it was William Gallas, then it was Peter Cech, now it's David Luiz. They have to stop buying Chelsea. Abramovich is right now doing an inside job on Arsenal. He sees everything. All right. The next problem is this season. How can you spend 70 million on a winger when a blind man could see you need a centre back? It's stupid. Arsenal will be like a person who is homeless. They win the lottery and they buy a car instead of a house. How can you spend 70 million on Nicolas Pepe when a blind man can see you need a centre back? It's stupid. So the transfer policy is horrible. And one more thing, Arsenal fans always saying that how they want to get back into Champions League. They want to get back in the top four. Guys, you really want to see Arsenal in Champions League? If you're getting moved by Mope and Brighton Hove Albion, what is Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG,
Jamal. I said be respectful. Okay, but remember, please respect Karen, but please be respectful. Be respectful.
Yeah, one thing before I say, let's leave this in our head. Mbappe, Neymar against David Luiz and Squadron Mustafi. I'll
Okay,
finish.
Jamal. Okay, Jamal, you've talked enough. You've talked enough. Plastic fan. What do you think is the one thing and one reason as to why Arsenal are currently 10th in the Premier League? What is the problem? If you could identify the issue. Plastic fan?
The issue is that Arsenal have been on the decline since the 06-07 season. But why the situation has gotten this bad this season has been, let's say, I think this season Arsenal have been more defensively vulnerable than the last few seasons. If you look at the amount of games where they start to lead and they let their lead slip, it's many times. I think Arsenal are the club which has drawn the most games this season. It ha- Arsenal have like 13 draws this season,
Yeah, 13 draws, yeah.
and also like it's the mentality of the players. They look like they give up. They don't have that heart, that fight, that grit. I don't see that anymore. And also like the one who's involved in the transfer recruitments, like they obviously know that Arsenal need solid centre backs and midfielders, and they go spend like 70 million on a winger, Nicolas Pepe. I think if Arsenal were smart enough in the transfers and they could actually get a manager who's a tactician, would make them solid enough and make them hard to beat, I think Arsenal would have been in a much, much better position than we were seeing them now. The thing is, Arsenal, like their defense, they look shaky. They don't have a leader in defense. They don't have somebody to organize the defense. And I know that they've bought David Luiz, but David Luiz isn't really a solid centre back. He plays well in a three, as he did under Antonio Conte at Chelsea. And David Luiz, let's say that they thought that he was going to be the leader at the back, but
He's a trash
David
defender,
Luiz,
bro.
yes, he's not a very good defender, but perhaps if Arteta tried to play him as a defensive midfielder, maybe that would work because David Luiz is a very good passer of the ball. He could string long passes very, very, very efficiently.
But it's just random. But just if you just because we have to get many guys specifically. If you just say the one main issue that Arsenal needs to fix as to why they're in this position right now, what would that thing be? If you just say like the one issue that they have, why they're in this position right now, what would that thing be?
It's the defense. It's the defense. They need to be more solid at the back and they need to be hard to beat. But how can you be solid at the back with players like Mustafi and David Luiz? You know. So yeah, the thing that they need to fix is the defense.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also like why playing Aubameyang at the wide while he's a main goal scorer? I don't get this sometimes.
It's
So
madness.
that's
It's
it.
madness. Okay. Stodge, Arsenal. What is the one
Arsenal.
biggest issue that Arsenal need to fix? That's why they're in this position. 10th.
Yeah, I think Arsenal's biggest issue is their ownership, because ultimately the owners have the ultimate power, and they've made the decisions regarding which players to transfer. They decided to hire Arteta, who had no experience. They have a model where they just keep on transferring players. For example, as soon as Emery left the club, he did a big interview stating that he didn't want Pepe, he didn't want many players, and the players that he didn't want, they didn't sign. So again, it goes back to them. The problem is ownership. People are blaming the mentality of the players, but if you get crap players, they're going to have weak mentality, and that's reflected in the position they're in. They keep on signing players that have no experience, like Guendouzi and others, and average players. And instead of actually going after good centre backs,
They're just looking for cheap options, such as David Luiz, and use him for 1 year. I mean, that type of strategy is not going to work. So what they need to do is the owners need to create a model and a plan for the next 5 years on exactly what type of players they want to go after, the type of manager, because I don't think Arteta is good enough. I don't think he's going to take them anywhere. So they need to come up with a manager, and they need to create a team for recruitment where they actually scout players they need. It doesn't have to be the most expensive player, but they need to sign players that fit and make sense. Why waste 75 million on Pepe when you needed a centre back?
Okay. And what was it called? Red Devil. Run this off. The one main issue that Arsenal have where they're in 10th. What is the one main issue that they need to fix?
The thing is, Hafrope, it's not a one issue thing, and this is I semi disagree with what people said before regarding to transfers, because I think that some of the transfers have in theory been good. The thing with Arsenal, and my brother's an Arsenal fan, we actually had a long conversation about this on the game, is that from top to bottom, systemically, this is like a multifactorial problem. This season, before the season started, they were obviously humiliated by Chelsea in that Baku final. Going into it, okay, there was a bit of optimism. They got some signings. If I'm honest, I thought with the squad, with the improvements, that they might actually, that it looked even that they would probably displace Manchester United with what was going on with United. But then before the season started, Koscielny does his kind of thing, forces a move out of the club. You see what he does with it, with the shirt and etc. And already that you're seeing that there's some issues in the background of the club. Fast forward, you have the whole incident with Xhaka. You have the incident, obviously, with just Arsenal, FTP fans and what they expect, etc. Emery gets sacked, as one of the comments previously said, like he plus or minus whether he got his players or not. But if I'm honest, his tactics were all over the place. Arteta comes in, tries to bring a degree of sort of positivity, but did he have a run or anything like that? No, not particularly. You've got to look at the sporting director in Rahul, because Studge is right about the owners, and Kroenke is a massive part of the problem as well. You've got to look at the sporting director, Rahul, who's there, who's part of that recruitment, who brings in the players, because that's the point of the sporting director. They're supposed to scout. They haven't been good at all. And of course, you've got to look at the players. You know, at the end of the day, on the field, as I think it was Jamal said, Arsenal were 1-0 up in that game against Brighton. Okay, they were 1-0 up. It's funny because up until now, anyway, every team that's played in the Premier League since its restart, every away team, okay, has either won or got a point. If you look at the games, every away team that has played has either won or got a point, except Arsenal Football Club. They've got neither. You know, it's difficult to pinpoint a specific thing, because even tactically, like successive managers have tried to play.
Okay, basically, my thing is like, if it's a case of, okay, we've got 5-6 problems, what is the first problem we need to address now? Like, which is we'll address the 5. We've got 6 issues, but what is the issue where right now we must address this issue right now?
They need a proper coach. And for me, and I said this, and I got bantered by, I think, Arsenal fans when I think Emery got sacked. I was like, the best person, to be honest, to come in to work with young players who I know who could improve players, who was available at the time, who could come in and do the job, especially with minimal resources, I said, was Brendan Rodgers. If Brendan Rodgers was available before he took the Leicester job, and I was like, he would actually be good, because irrespective of what you think of what happened at Liverpool, he improved players with players that weren't particularly great, you know, so he could do something. He could coach better. You can see what he's doing at Leicester City with far less money spent compared to Arsenal, you know. But, you know, the sort of, get Allegri, get all these big things and stuff like that. Like, they need to get a proper coach, not just a name, not just emotion, just a proper coach who can actually improve players. That's what they need. Simple.
Okay. So next round of questions now is, people brought up a Wenger. And I think I'm going to make this a double-barred question, which is, should Wenger have been forced out, and should he have stayed? And the second thing is that is Arteta the right man for the job? So let me answer those, and then I will kick it to you guys. The Wenger thing is complicated. It depends. So my thing with Wenger is, I think that Wenger should have left if you were going to bring a radically different kind of manager to the club who was radically different from Wenger to completely change and reshape Arsenal in a modern way to compete. The issue with it is, if you're bringing in a guy who is best known for the miracle at Camp Nou, or you're bringing a guy who was a rookie and a side chick to Pep Guardiola, you might as well keep Wenger. So because the fact of the matter is that Arsenal have now moved backwards since Wenger, 100%, based on where Arsenal are right now, you should have kept Wenger. So if you're taking Wenger away, you have to bring in a manager, because what was the issue about Wenger? He was too much of a philosophy merchant. Emery is a philosophy merchant. Arteta, based on what he's learned from Pep, is a philosophy merchant. So if you're taking Wenger away, you want to move in a different direction. This is similar to Tottenham. I always said Tottenham needed someone like a Ronald Koeman, a Nagelsmann, or someone of that ilk where, okay, we're not trying to now play football right now, or a Ten Hag. We're not trying to play football because we're not going away from the Pochettino thing. So Wenger was right to leave if you're not going to bring in somebody who has a different philosophy to Wenger, because that whole thing is gone. Let's now get a tactician who wants to win, which is why when I had Allegri, I was like, okay, bring in Allegri, radically different from Wenger, bring him in. But if you now went to Emery and Homeboy, it's like, and that's the first thing. Second thing is, Arteta is the wrong man. And Arsenal fans who still say, give Arteta time, give him time, don't believe the hype. I was hearing crap that, Arteta was the real brains behind Pep Guardiola. Excuse me? What? Pep was winning before Arteta knew what management or coaching was. Pep was already successful at Barcelona, at Bayern Munich. So I never believed that thing of like, oh no, Arteta's the guy that's really behind the success of Man City. It's like, what? That's what people were preaching. I'm not hating on Arteta. This job is too big for Arteta because this is a total revamp that is needed. A complete and total upheaval revamp that is needed. I think for a job this big, you need an experienced manager. And I just don't think he's that dude. So coming into eye test before starts, should Wenger have stayed? And do you think Arteta is the right man to help Arsenal for the future?
With this, I blame AFTV. I don't care what anyone says. AFTV were the ones who sacked Arsene Wenger. They sacked Arsene Wenger. Yeah. And for me, Wenger was
wait. Why are you putting that on AFTV? How so? So AFTV is that influential?
They convinced everyone that Wenger is this dead manager, this washed manager that can't manage. When he was, what I was about to say last time, he was constantly getting top 4 with Marouane Chamakh. Every season he was getting top 4. I think it was only in his last season that he wasn't. Wenger was a good manager. He had a dead defense. He had dead players ever since this 2006. Like, all the good players started to leave, and Wenger was required. He was expected to manage dead players. I don't know what people expected from him. And now look, ever since he left, Arsenal have got worse and worse, even though I would say the players they have right now is a lot better than what Wenger had to deal with. He was getting top 4 with dead players, and these managers, Emery and Arteta, are struggling to even get into the top 6 with better players than what Wenger had. So that's my issue. And with what you said, if you was gonna sack Wenger, they should have got a different type of manager. They should have got, for me, an Allegri or Jose Mourinho, someone who can defend, because that was their issue when Wenger was there. That I would say that Wenger, he didn't care about defending, and that was a big issue that Wenger had. Yeah. So if they were gonna sack him, I would say they should have got a defensive manager like Allegri, Jose, and I think that would have been a smarter move than getting Emery, a guy that couldn't win the league with
Did you forget
PSG.
Wenger's last season?
Wenger's last season.
Things got pretty nasty in his last season. You know, I don't think they won a single away game. So was it a case of the writing was on the wall that they had to sack him?
Yeah, like I said, if they was gonna sack him, they should have got, and like you said, they should have got Allegri, a defensive manager, because that was their issue. But they got Emery. Emery, like he's similar to Wenger, but worse than Wenger. So I didn't understand that move.
Okay. So Erhan, same for you, man. Do you think that Wenger should have stayed in hindsight? And do you think that people should still give Arteta time? That Arteta should be given faith?
Honestly, the Wenger one's a bit of a tough one. I think obviously hindsight is 2020, so we can look back at it and say, oh, you know, they should have kept Wenger. But bear in mind, at the time, everyone was absolutely chastising him. Like the downfall from like, you know, like the Invincible era to towards the end of his days was immense. But honestly, I feel like the perfect time for him to leave would have been 2014. I'm not sure if you remember when they had the FA Cup final against Hull City, when like they had an amazing comeback, and like, you know, this team like seemed to be at the end of their cycle. You know, like every season they were selling their top guys. You know, Nasri, Van Persie, because I think that's one of the key like issues for Arsenal. They kept on selling their best talents. That's the beginning of the end, I think, because like if you can't retain your best players, then you can't be expecting to challenge. So like Wenger was kind of his back was against the wall, but at the same time he didn't do himself any favors. But you have to be honest, like this guy, despite, you know, being like washed up and, you know, like everyone was saying
he kept on getting top four.
Kept on getting top four, and he also won them trophies. Like look at the 2016-17 season. The season Tottenham finished second, we won nothing. Those guys finished fifth outside top four, but they won the FA Cup. Who had the better season? Arsenal, because they had trophies to show for it. But I feel like the problem with Wenger was he had too much power at the club.
I don't get how people are blaming AFTV. I don't know why, but why are people blaming AFTV? But sorry, continue.
I don't know, but yeah, I feel like Wenger had too much power at the club. That was the issue. Like he was given it. It wasn't his fault. But you know, like with the Messi at Barcelona dynamic we have now, I feel like Wenger had too much control over his future. Like literally, even when things were going bad, like the board just left like the decision to him. So the contract's on the table. Like if you want to take it, you can take it. If you don't, you can go. Like I don't think that's a good way to run the club. Like no one is bigger than the club, and you have to really enforce that. Like even if your manager's like a legend, you have to really be harsh with him. So yeah, I do think like the board didn't really manage that situation well. And in terms of Arteta, I mean, obviously this guy's only been here for like 3 months properly in terms of like the games we've seen. I haven't seen enough to suggest that he can, you know, turn anything around. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the guy. He's been left for like a trash squad. Maybe.
Okay. So I know this is obviously hard for you, but let's say you put yourself in the role of an Arsenal fan. Do you have faith, or are you like, nah, man, let's just do this early before it gets worse? Let's just say thank you. Or do you think that it's too early to sack him? Like at the end of the season.
Do you know what? I think it's similar to the Oli thing, where it's like we have no choice but to ride this out now. Like this is the approach we've chosen, and we have to go for it. Because, I mean, look at it. They've sacked 2 managers in the last 2 years already with Wenger and Emery. If they sack Arteta now, they're just going to become like a yo-yo club where they literally like are hiring a new guy every season, which is what Tottenham was before Pochettino came. You know, we were getting guys like Sherwood, Redknapp, Villas, and that does not give a good look for the club. Like if you're, you know, constantly chopping and changing. So I think it's a matter of like whether they like it or not, they're going to have to stick with him, because if you don't, I mean, like your club's going to be in complete turmoil. So I mean, they have to be prepared to, you know, accept this mediocrity for the next few years, and, you know, hopefully they'll be in a relegation battle very soon. Okay. That'll be very, very interesting to watch.
Okay, all right, LB, same question. Do you think that they should have kept Wenger? Should they keep faith in Arteta?
I mean, it really depends. Wenger, yes, was getting them into the top 4, but then again, Arsenal fans were coming out and saying that they were sick of getting 4th position every single season, year in, year out.
But 4th doesn't seem so bad now, does it?
It it doesn't, not at all. But as I said, they were sick of coming fourth every season. What they wanted was the Premier League, which obviously Wenger was unable to deliver towards the end of his career. And if you think about it, he was there from, I think it was 1996 up until 2018. So that's a long time. Yeah. So regardless of how well he was doing, I think it was about time they looked at a new manager. And in terms of the mentality that we spoke about that Arsenal had, I honestly think that the players mirrored the body language of Wenger and how he sort of conducted himself. Because if you remember, a lot of the times in which Arsenal were losing the games or getting battered in the Champions League, Wenger would just, sit down in the dugout and, not really do much. Whereas, you get all these other coaches, in contrast to Wenger, such as Simeone, Jurgen Klopp, Antonio Conte, who are so animated on the sidelines, continuously screaming, yelling at the fans and obviously at the players. So I think that's definitely a coach that Arsenal need to sort of look into in the future. Someone with more emotion, someone, as I said, who's more animated, to really sort of get them to a level.
Basically, a tactician.
What's that? Sorry?
A tactician.
Yeah, a tactician. Yeah. So I think that's a coach in which they should really look into.
Okay. So are you saying they sack Arteta this season, or they give him one more season? What do they do with Arteta?
Look, they might as well just wait until the season ends, see where Arsenal finish, and then make a decision from there.
Okay, let's say you're making the decision, or let's just say, for argument's sake, they finish 11th or 12th. What do you do?
Then I reckon they should look for a new coach.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. What's it called? Yasser Said.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. So, should they have kept Wenger? Should Arteta be given time?
See, I'm a first thing first. Before I'm a United fan, I'm a football fan. Let me state that first. And for me, I have enormous respect for Arsene Wenger. He's a legend. Okay, he's a Premier League legend. The guy revolutionized English football. He did that. Okay, let me just say that. Second thing is people need to understand that Arsene Wenger's job was not only as a manager, but he was Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, in charge of all the transfers and stuff.
Exactly. So for he was literally the guy of the face of Arsenal Football Club, not Stan Kroenke, none of those guys. He was the face, and for him, he basically ran the club. Let's be real. Arsene Wenger ran the club, and the thing is, when someone that big leaves your club, then that means you have to do so much prior to him leaving. You need to have because he did 3 or 4 jobs. You need not only do you need a manager, but you need people that to help the manager, a sporting director, a technical director, someone that can actually help the manager. Like Bayern Munich has a sporting director. Every club at PSG has a sporting director. Every big club has a sporting director. And
Arsenal have a sporting director. They do have a sporting director.
They don't. They have a. So, anyways, going on. But then my point is, before Arsene Wenger left, there was so much work that needed to be done prior to him leaving. You need to make sure your club is stable. That when he leaves, when the other manager that's coming in, the.
And your mic messed up. Your mic messed up, man. Your side, your mic is messed up. Your mic is messing up. Yeah, I think you need to fix your mic, bro.
All right, give me a second. Is it better now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So the fact that you literally went from Arsene Wenger to Unai Emery is just doesn't make any sense to me, because if you're going from that big of a manager that's been there for so many years, that's literally the best manager you ever had. The guy is look. Arsenal's history is pretty much Arsene Wenger. When you look at that and you replace him with Unai Emery, it just never made sense. So for me, I don't. I think the fact that Arsene Wenger leaving was inevitable. The fact that he should have gone is it was going to happen no matter what. So, but then it's the fact that Arsenal was so ill prepared. The fact that when he left, it seemed like they were just scrambling. They signed Unai Emery. He got, you know what I mean? He got sacked by PSG. He was a manager at PSG. He literally almost, I think, was it the year he got sacked? The year after that, they hired him. I don't know, or a year or two. It just seems like they were just scrambling. Did not know what to do. And then so they keep Arteta. That's the point. That's another. The other question is, should they keep Arteta? Well, you have no choice. Like the previous guy said, you have no choice. You got to stick with him.
So
You
okay, wait, okay. But if they finish 12th, they should still stick with him if they finish 12th.
But then who else can get?
I'm
Who
just
else
asking
as a
you-
manager?
No, that's not what I asked.
Yeah.
My question, no. My question is this: you're in charge of Arsenal of who gets sacked by manager. If they finish 12th, do you keep Arteta or do you sack him if Arsenal finish 12th?
I keep him. I
Okay.
keep him. I trust him. I mean, if I'm in charge of Arsenal and if I made that decision to hire Arteta, I gotta stick with him because that's the decision I made. I made that decision. The fact if I sack him now, then that just shows you that's what a relegation club does. That's what a small club does. Sack a manager, get a manager so we can stay up. No, stick with it. Back him.
Okay.
Believe in his philosophy, and if it doesn't work out, goodbye.
Okay. All right. Okay. So same question. So Q, should they keep Arteta? Should they have kept Wenger? Let's keep it brief because we have a lot of topics to go. So to keep it nice and brief. Go for it.
I don't understand why people are saying it's like AFTV's fault for all of this. It's not. They're just giving their opinion in that. As for Arsene Wenger, bro, I think it's time that he should have went like in 2014, as the other person said. I think that was the perfect time for him to go. I think of course, he's an Arsenal legend and all that, but I think he kind of tarnished his legacy a little bit after he was staying for all these years. And as for Mikel Arteta, I think personally, I think he is the right man for the job because I've seen tactical side of his game. I think he's got a better philosophy than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can actually win United a Premier League.
So you
Controversial
think that they should keep faith in Arteta then?
Yes, but
Even if they come 13th or 12th.
I think Arteta will get sacked next season because they're probably gonna finish very low this season, and they're gonna get that a low budget. Look at last season. And that.
Okay. Cool. All right. Jamal.
Yeah, I was just searching Twitter today, and I was seeing plenty Arsenal fans saying that how Wenger should have never left. And when I think about that, I say two things. Football fans have very short-term memory. And the next thing is football fans are the dumbest people in the world. Do you guys remember they got 8-2 at Manchester United under Wenger? They got 6-0 at Chelsea.
Exactly.
And last season, they never won an away game. Oh, they went a whole year. Why people forget? It was toxic. Wenger should have left at 2008, not let alone 2016. He should have left way. Guys, do not forget. I see football fans are very reactionary. They forget. I don't. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if people who 40 and over can remember, but I'm 23 and I remember it was toxic on the Wenger. They get even 10-2 by Bayern Munich. So so Wenger, no, he should have never. They would have get relegated right now if Wenger was still in charge. What was the next question about Arteta?
No, no, so should they keep Arteta? So even if they finish 12th, should they keep Arteta?
No. The reason why is because what? If Arteta they bring in his players, they will have no choice. They will have to keep him. But he hasn't. I think he's only bringing Pablo Mari, the centre back. So in that case, sack him. He left nothing on the club. Bring in Rafa Benitez. Arsenal need a defensive coach. Arsenal need somebody who could sort out that defense, and then Allegri, they could go for Allegri as well. So if it was me, because at the time signed no players yet, sack him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plastic fan.
Yes, Arsenal Wenger should have left because he became too predictable and sides were beginning to figure him out. And
Okay.
I think
On what about
if
Arteta?
Arsenal,
Should they keep faith in him?
yes, Arteta, they should give him a summer, and after that, if things go bad, then they should sack him. But if they want to be effective enough, they should sack Arteta now, as in right now, get a tactician, make them look solid, and at least make them finish in the top 7 or top 8 or top 9. And next season, they should get proper centre backs and full backs and midfielders. They need a central defensive midfielder. That is key. That is the key position that will leave next summer. That is the way of being effective. And they should splash 150 million plus, 100 million plus on defenders and central defensive midfielders and midfielders. But that is the way to be effective if they want to be effective.
Okay.
And if they want to play the long game, then they should keep on sitting.
All right. So Stodge, brief. Should Wenger have stayed? Should they keep faith in Arteta?
Wenger should have been sacked earlier. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you. Just not you sounded a bit muffled.
Okay.
Go for it. Just go. Speak. Just speak.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, I think Wenger should have been sacked earlier. Wenger, he should have left in 2008-9, because ever since then, I think Wenger's actually responsible for the decline of the club. He stayed too long. He kept on signing crap player after crap player. He hardly spent any money. It was like he was actually saving for the owners. I remember that was one of the things that a lot of Arsenal fans were complaining about. They were constantly getting beaten and baptized by all the big teams. They didn't have any real serious title challenge for about a good decade. I mean, so what was the point of keeping Wenger? Like you said in the first segment, what you said was we need to create a solution. I mean, Arsenal are in the business of winning trophies. That's their target. And if they stick with Wenger, they weren't going to win it. So it's worth the risk. Obviously, it didn't work out because they hired Arteta. But I do disagree with one thing. You said that after you sack a coach that has a philosophy, you should hire a different type of one. I don't agree with that, because look at Juventus. They sacked Allegri and they hired Sarri. They became worse. Two opposite managers. So that's not a theory that works.
Quick response. The thing with Sarri, and this is what I've always said, I don't think they fully backed him with the players that he wanted. And the key thing is he needed Jorginho. I will still say that if Sarri had Jorginho with Juventus, they're almost a completely different team. It's one player. If he was able to bring Jorginho with him, it would have been vastly different. True, it doesn't always work that way. But I think more times than not, it's a logical step. Look, if a manager is crap, it's crap. It's a bad fit. But I was saying a logical step is if you've had one type of manager for 10 years, you've got to go a different way. For carry on.
Yeah, and as for Arteta, sack him. I mean, you might as well just sack him now. He's one of the worst managers I've ever seen at Arsenal. He's way worse than it's
had transfer.
No. I don't care, man. Just because he was sitting on the bench for Man City doesn't make him a good manager. I haven't seen anything from this guy. People are saying he has some type of philosophy. I haven't seen this philosophy. I mean, against Man City, was he trying to be defensive? And once again, they failed. Against Brighton, they couldn't string any passes together. They told us that he improves players. Oh, look what he's done with Sane and Sterling. He's come to Arsenal, and I think he's made players worse. Players like Martinelli, who are performing better for Emery, are no longer coming on the pitch. He's making weird substitutions. He keeps on bringing on these young players. I don't know if he's bringing on these young players because it's Black Lives Matters or something. But he keeps on forcing them on the pitch, and they're no good. They're no good. I don't know what he's playing at. The substitutes he's making is very odd. And against Man City, honestly, when I looked at the starting lineup, I thought this guy fixed the match. I felt like he threw the match away. When I looked at, so his lineup doesn't make sense. His substitution doesn't make sense. He doesn't have a philosophy. Why are you wasting your time? All I'm going to tell Arsenal is, do not make the same mistakes AC Milan made. AC Milan, what they decided was, let's hire X players. And look what's happened to them now. Do not hire, this is for any club. Don't fall in love with X players.
Red Devil, round us off.
Yeah, so I got two things. I do agree with Jamal and Studge in a sense that this idea of this reactionary romanticizing, you know, if Arsenal come back, Jamal hit it right on the head with like those statistics. You know, it was a toxic environment. I remember it was a toxic environment around Arsenal, and it was understandable given where Arsenal Football Club have been. The other thing I think that's just important to mention is that logic only makes sense if football stands still. You know, football didn't stand still. You know, other teams, other clubs that were being bought up by billionaires, that were hiring big coaches. Liverpool got stronger. Leicester City got stronger. Spurs obviously got an up-and-coming Pochettino type manager. Man City obviously got Pep Guardiola. There are a lot of things that happened from 2014, 2016 that have changed, that put Arsenal in this position, that don't necessarily involve Arsenal Football Club, and that a lot of teams have just gotten better for various reasons: better investment, better coaching, and obviously the draw better players with obviously the money that's in the game. So that's something that's very important. I think if Wenger comes back into this team as a manager or whatever, or even if he was us in, they would still struggle, you know, because, you know, other teams have just gotten better. Regarding Arteta, I just want to make just a quick comparison because people sometimes bring Oli up and it's Oli sort of situation. People need to sort of bear in mind that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was hired on an interim basis. Okay, it wasn't that they hired him; he was hired on an interim basis. He got the official job when I think we went unbeaten for like 15 games, culminating with that miracle at PSG. So, rightly or wrongly, there was evidence up until that point that said, you know what, let's give him the job. There was evidence there. Mikel Arteta was just hired. Okay, Arsenal could have done the same thing like United and said, you know what, let's just give you the interim job for 6 months, review, see what happens at the end of the season. When Arteta came in, there was no 12-match unbeaten run. There was no massive win. There was no nothing. It was just kind of cultivating the loss in Baku. It was maybe marginal improvement at best. So based on that marginal improvement, do you then give that coach a long-term deal? No, I think there was more logic. I'll bet you could argue United fans maybe regrets it, giving Oli the role based on the evidence that he provided in those 15 games than Arteta did. Now, I'm not normally for 1% you should sack manager. I don't think they should sack Arteta. I do think he should get, you know, a summer. I'm starting to question Arteta's tactic and his decision making. I'm just trying to question if there are things going on behind the scenes, because Arsenal today, they needed a creative midfielder. They had one on the bench in Mesut Ozil. He wasn't there. Martinelli, who's been one of Arsenal's best young players, hasn't even come on at all. And this insistence in successive managers trying to play Aubameyang and Lacazette together, it does not work. Putting Aubameyang on the wings and come on, one of them has to be number 9. It doesn't work. So I don't know. Like that's the concerning for me from an Arsenal point of view.
Okay, so this is just a round off.
Yeah.
If Arsenal were to finish 13th or 12th this season, do you still keep Arteta if you're the decision maker?
I don't. You keep him. Like I think we still need to see what happens, because I think Arsenal's still in the FA Cup, you know. So you never know if they won the FA Cup. you've got something to build on because at least that's a trophy. You've got to see. I think there should be a review at the end of the season. If the way they play, if Arteta's tactics improve, and it's just the players, then it's obvious. They just need to go out and buy decent players, sporting director in the summer. Fine. But if it's an issue with that, his tactics, like he's making strange decisions, like, you know what, I'm not going to even play like Martinelli, for example. I'm just going to play a player like Lacazette, who hasn't scored an away goal since February 2019.
Jesus.
What the hell?
Yeah.
He hasn't scored an away goal since 2019.
All right, okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
So let me just take some few super chats from here. So Syed says, let's be real. If Bram owned Arsenal, we don't have this question. We wouldn't even be saying as Wenger should have went and all this. That's because Bram is the greatest owner in football history. And Bram is that flipping dude. And we love Bram. Don't mess with Bram. Thank you, man. Thank you for showing love to Bram, man. Thank you. From Natsa says that, I remember HH saying, Jorginho is the most useless player he's watched in a certain YouTube video out there. Yes, I did, but then he improved. But it doesn't negate the fact that he is important for what Sarri wants to do. So me saying that he was useless for a period of time does not refute the fact that if Jorginho was with Juve, with Sarri right now, they would fare a lot better. So again, I don't know where you were really going with that, man.
You missed a super chat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me hit that. So, but Jamal, 2-1 to Brighton. What's the difference? Jamal, respond.
If Wenger was still there would have been a championship. Done.
Wow. Okay. Now, I want to bring this in, and I think this is something that I think we need to. We've talked about it a bit, but I think we need to revisit this again. Benzema. You see, I think we had this massive discussion right now about Benzema against Lewandowski against Benzema, and can I just set the record straight for my whole Benzema thing? Yes, there was a point in which Benzema was a brick. Go look at it. There was a period in time in which Benzema played like if an anvil was trying to play football. Those are facts. So he deserved to be in the brick academy. But he decided to play a particular role because he was a side piece to Cristiano. And as a side piece that led to those Champions League wins. But let's keep it real. What Benzema has been doing this season, so much of what he's been doing this season, I would argue, you're going to make an argument that he's one of the best strikers in the world. And for me, I think that he is doing more as a striker than Lewandowski. See, Lewandowski is just scoring goals. That's what he's mainly doing. He's mainly just scoring goals. Benzema is scoring goals. He's creating. He's making plays. He's holding the ball up. He's playing as a false nine. He's being a playmaker. His general footballing quality has been flipping damn good, which is why I'm so excited for August when we face Man City. So let me come first to eye test before starts with this, man. So eye test before starts. Do you believe that Benzema is underrated and we need to give him more praise? Do you think he's underrated?
For me, for a very long time, I've always thought Benzema is one of the most underrated players in the world. Yeah, I think.
Wait, so for how long do you feel he was underrated?
Well, since Lyon days, because I remember at Lyon, the guy was on fire, and I never felt that he got enough praise. I never thought that. And when you say he's the best striker in the world, I don't think we should be comparing him to the Lewandowskis and the Suarez. We should be comparing him to Bobby Firmino's. And in that position, a lot of people say Bobby Firmino is the best centre forward in the world. But no, I think it's Benzema. I think it's always been Benzema, the best player in the world to play that position, that role. I think it was always Benzema. But I will say this: I don't think Benzema is what Real Madrid need right now. I think what Real Madrid need right now is an Mbappe, a Ronaldo, a Lewandowski. Let Hazard, let Modric, let Cruz, let Vinicius do the stuff behind the box.
Vinicius.
Yeah, and yeah, Vinicius is a great player. I know you don't like him, but for me, I rate him. But anyway, that's another topic.
Okay, all right, fine. We're just carry on.
But let these players do the job outside the box. Yeah. Real Madrid needs someone like a Cristiano Ronaldo, someone that will score you the goals, the cherry on the top, yeah, to finish it off. That's what I think Real Madrid need right now. I would sell Benzema personally. I think I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's nothing to do with that. I just don't think he's what they need right now. They need a goal scorer. They need Mbappe, Lewandowski.
Okay.
Yeah, let Hazard and these players
all right.
do the creativity.
Okay. Erhan, is Benzema underrated?
For sure. I mean, I think he's been underrated his whole career, to be honest. I agree with Itis.
No. See,
no. Yeah.
So when Cristiano was scoring all the goals and he was just pretty much being a sideshow, he was underrated then?
I think so, because I don't want to be a stat merchant, but I like to use both stats and eye test. But if we look at his stats, I don't think he's ever had a season where he scored less than like 15 goals. Correct me if I'm wrong. And furthermore, I can't remember a single season where I literally used to watch him, and I wouldn't say it like the bare minimum. He was always at least decent, like in every single game. Like he never really had a poor game. Like obviously Ronaldo would have poor games where he would sometimes not be as effective. This guy was always like trying. Like that's the bare minimum. And bear in mind, like before he went to Real Madrid, he was one of the most hotly sought after prospects in world football. Like Fergie literally tried to do everything to sign him because he realized he realized that Benzema is a complete forward. Like he literally has every single attribute you would want in terms of finishing ability, link up play, aerial ability, general presence, like physicality. He has it all, and that's why I think he's actually been one of the best strikers of his generation, if not the best striker. If you think about consistency, impact, scoring big goals in big games, which something that Lewandowski doesn't know how to do, and and trophies as well. Like goodness me, like how many Champions Leagues do you want? Like these guys literally won so many big trophies. Like you can't take that away from him.
We're talking about the quality of the player, not the trophies he won on a great team. The quality of the player.
For me, without him, they wouldn't have won those trophies. So I think that is a testament to his quality. He was literally the centerpiece of Real Madrid. Like obviously they had Ronaldo, but he literally fed Ronaldo. Like without Benzema, CR7 will not have the legacy he has at Real Madrid. Like that's just a fact. Like, but he owes a lot to Karim Benzema, in my opinion.
Wow, that's interesting. The Cristiano fanboys will not like that, but you've spoken.
Come at me. I don't care. Like listen, we all know that.
I'll share Erhan's private number and his address.
For God's sake.
LB, is Benzema underrated?
I think he was very much underrated during his early years at Real Madrid under Jose Mourinho. If you remember, he was rotating a lot with Higuain, and to be honest, I think he should have at least had one Champions League under Jose Mourinho. So I think that was obviously when he had recently joined Real Madrid, when he was under the coaching of Mourinho. But like you said, HH, I also reckon that there's no doubt that Benzema had a bit of a form slump during that three-peat. He was, if you remember, on the bench at times. Vasquez was being played ahead of him. And that's always going to happen as a player. You have your ups and downs. But overall, I think that he has been underappreciated and underrated, especially during his early years at Real Madrid. And I suppose it's hard to sort of kick the goals and have the spotlight on you when you're playing with Cristiano Ronaldo and a team that wins 3 Champions Leagues in a row. So it's good to see that he's doing well these days with Real Madrid. So kind of like when he first started back in 2009, I think, with Real Madrid. So yeah.
So would you say in 2020 right now? Would you say he's underrated or he's rated how he should be?
Right now, yeah. Right now, I think he's rated how he should be. that's not to say that there are people out there who underrate him, but I think, I think the way people see him these days is just the way he sort of performs and delivers on the pitch. So yeah.
Okay. Ebron official. Benzema, is he underrated?
Uh, he's no, he's not underrated, and I'll tell you why. He's people may think that he's underrated, but the thing is that if you watched his career when he was coming up, when he was playing for Lyon and he was scoring so many goals, he chose it on his own accord to play second fiddle to Ronaldo, and he's only got himself to blame when people don't remember him after 10 or 20 years, because if he was more selfish rather than being selfless, then Ronaldo wouldn't have the name that he has right now, and Benzema would be highly rated. People would see him as the striker that they're only seeing Benzema. How old is he? 30 something years old right now.
32.
32. People only see his finishing ability right now, but if he was more selfish when he was 27, 28, 29, and he was, rather than passing it to Ronaldo, he was taking the goals himself, then people would give him more props for that. But he wasted his talent by passing to Ronaldo, passing to Bale, passing to whoever, and paying leaving the striker role to Ronaldo and not taking it himself.
Okay, that's fair. Yasser Said, Benzema, underrated?
Can you hear me?
Yep, could hear you nice and clear.
You know, one thing I really love about this hangout is the fact that everyone has their own opinion. I love that, and
Cool.
it's so different. So
Brilliant.
let me just say that the previous guy, I completely 100% disagree with him. I believe he is grossly underrated. And I believe, and this is my belief, I believe that history will shine brighter on Benzema than they will in Lewandowski. And this is my personal belief. And the reason why is that at the end of the day,
Wait. Let me add a caveat. You're right, but let me add a caveat. If Lewandowski, he's on 33 goals right now, might end up with 35 or 36, so it could be a crazy season. If he wins the Champions League with the Bayern Munich this season, do you still have that same opinion?
well, that's the thing though. That's why is it an if? Because no one's unsure. People are unsure about Bayern Munich. I generally believe Bayern Munich will not win the Champions League. So I mean that's not gonna happen. For me, Lewandowski's. That's why I always see the thing about, for me, going back to Benzema, is you look at a player like Benzema, and he's all about, I don't care about stats, and I love that. I don't care about stats. I care about trophies. So that's the mentality that every young player should have. Is about winning the trophy. I'm gonna do whatever I can to win as much trophies till my career ends. I don't care about goals. I don't care about anything. And the fact that he literally sacrificed himself so his team, so Madrid, could win those titles. So because what Benzema does, and people do not understand. I feel like people are misunderstanding why Zidane loves Benzema, why Ronaldo loves Benzema. Is because Benzema does something that not a lot of strikers does. Is that he literally creates space for the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Bale, the likes of he creates so much space. He's interchanging. He's like almost.
But people would then say, okay, well, that's all good, but you're being a side piece. How can I give you credit for being a side piece for other guys to shine when
But
you're the
then
striker?
that's the thing, though. It's like there's so many great players that have not won things in their life. There's like you have Messi and Ronaldo. They have never won World Cups. I mean, what Benzema does is that he literally sacrificed himself to say, like, you know what, I'm gonna do this because this is gonna be the better for the team. For me, that's the reason. Let me say this. If, and this would never happen because he's not the same nationality. But if Benzema was on the Argentina 2014 team, Messi wins the World Cup. Guaranteed. guaranteed Messi wins a World Cup without a question. Because what Benzema does is something that not a lot of strikers does. Is say, you know what? I don't care about winning. I don't care about scoring goals. You're the guy that's the best scorer. You know what? I'm gonna create for you. I'm gonna create space for you. I'm gonna create the goals for you, and I'm gonna let you have the shine. But I'm gonna do the hard work for you. I'm gonna do the dirty work for you so you can shine. Come on. That's priceless. That's something that as professionals that's what they like. That's why Zidane loves this guy because what Benzema is priceless. He is a priceless artifact, and that's why I think when you look at the record books, people will be like, okay, Aguero scored a lot of goals in this era. Lewandowski scored a lot of goals in this era. Golden boots, but Benzema won the most important, other than the World Cup, the most important trophy multiple years.
No, no, no,
He won
no,
four Champions League.
no, see, side. The issue that you have with that is that if you talk about history, in history, people will look at, my gosh, look at how many goals Cristiano scored. You'd have to go and watch the games to see what Benzema did. Yeah, he won it.
But Jimmy Jones, though.
No, but people will say, oh my gosh, Ramos with that clutch header. Oh my gosh, look at Modric, how much he was regarded because he won the Ballon d'Or. Bale scoring that overhead kick, scoring in the first Champions League, Cristiano scoring so many of those goals. You'd have to watch the games. But for 11 days, he's like, my gosh, this guy scored 30 goals, 28, 29, 28, 29. And if he wins the CL, it makes things slightly more complex.
But the problem I have with that, SH, is that there's a guy named, apparently you discovered a guy named Jimmy Jones that scored so many goals. I've never heard of the dude, and this guy has so many goals. At the end of the day, people forget about goals. Let me tell you something. Do you know that Rooney had a 30-year goal season? Do you remember that?
No.
But we remember championships. We remember Real Madrid lifting up the title, don't we? We remember the finals. We remember.
Wait, round off because we need to go to others. Just round off. Make your final points.
I feel like as a footballer and as his career and as everything, Benzema has been grossly underrated, and I feel like history is going to shine brightly on Benzema when he retires.
Okay, Jamal, Benzema, is he underrated? Jamal.
Yeah, I don't think he's underrated. I more think like he's disrespected because you know why Benzema is disrespected? Because of the stock merchants. The stock merchants who don't watch the games and go, he scored 9 goals in 30 games. Yes, because I have to defend these guys. And you know who I'm talking about? I'm talking about Bobby Firmino as well. Because they always say, oh, he don't score. But just open your eyes and watch the game. Watch the touch, the footballing IQ, the ball control, the skills, the vision. Stats are very misleading. Not all the time you could watch and say, 9 goals in 28 games. No, watch the flipping game. But you are lucky you aired your dirty laundry at the start because I had a video right here by you saying that how Benzema will never leave the Brick Academy. So you're lucky.
Jamal,
I had it right here. It was ready.
Yourself, no one needs to see that.
I just had to play, but good luck. Yeah,
leak that bit.
Red Devil quiet. Thank you. Carry on.
Yeah. So these players are just disrespected because they are not what the stock merchants like. But tune into tomorrow game and you will see why Bobby Firmino is the best number 9 in the world. Yeah, I'm finished.
Oh God. Okay. Plastic fan. Benzema, is he underrated?
Benzema is slightly underrated because yes, he sacrificed himself so that Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale could shine. But I think Benzema, there was a time in which he played really bad. He used to miscontrol the ball. He missed open sitters. I don't know which season was it. I remember there was this time in which he played really, really bad. There was this season in which he played really bad. I think apart from that season, he's been great for Real Madrid. And also, I don't think that Real Madrid don't win the Champions League if not for him, because sure he played his part, but we all know that the main reason for Madrid's treble piece was Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, that midfield duo, and the goal scoring ethos of Cristiano Ronaldo. So yeah, I think people like underestimate how good Ronaldo is really, because remember that Ronaldo usually assisted Benzema more than Benzema assisted Ronaldo. But anyways, yeah, Benzema is a very skillful player. He's very good, and he's rated as at right now in 2020, he's rated perfectly. But he was slightly underrated in the past few years because as a striker, he has many attributes to his game. He can create space for others. He can create a goal. He can make a goal out of nothing, as we saw in that Valencia game. He could also score goals also. So yeah, and this is a question. If Benzema was in that 2018 French World Cup team, would the topic be different right now?
Oh, for sure. Like, well, see, but you know what? The funny thing is, I think someone mentioned it here. I don't know whether it was Nix or something. It may be one of these weird things, and now what I might say may confuse people, but it's a crazy footballing thing. If let's say Benzema started and not Giroud, do France still win the World Cup? Because Benzema is 50 times better than Giroud, but Giroud systematically worked well in terms of playing that role of the scarecrow, of the lamppost. And sometimes playing a lamppost can actually be very important. So because Benzema is the better player doesn't automatically mean that they will win. Just that it is most likely that they would win based on just how good of a player Benzema is. And also Benzema would have scored that one-on-one that Mbappe gave to him. So let's just assume that he was in that team. He wins the World Cup. Basically it's a different conversation. Let's say he win the World Cup. He's top scorer. Different conversation. Now we're not talking about an all-time striker. Now we're not talking about all-time striker. So that is that is fair. All right. So Stodge, is Benzema underrated?
Yeah, I think initially I was going to say Benzema's rated fairly, but just going off this panel, I've come to the decision that Benzema's overrated for a multitude of factors. Number one, people are saying that he helped make Ronaldo. I'm sorry, Ronaldo won plenty of trophies and scored plenty of goals before Benzema was even known. So that theory doesn't even make sense. I mean, Ronaldo never had any problems. Wait a minute. Ronaldo never had any problem scoring goals. In fact, like the other guy brought up, he assisted Benzema more than Benzema assisted him. And there's almost like a 15-minute montage of assists that Ronaldo could have had. And all you see is Benzema missing easy chance after easy chance after easy chance after easy chance. I see nobody mentioning that. I see nobody mentioning the fact that Ronaldo's goals is the reason why they won all those Champions Leagues. In fact, I remember the analysis video that you done on one of the Hangouts, and even you were shocked the number of goals he scored. And people are also forgetting that, for 1.5 seasons in that three-peat, Benzema was awful. There's a reason why you put Benzema in the Brick Academy. And another reason why he's super overrated is, why are we comparing him to Lewandowski? Lewandowski is doing something historical. He's by far the best player this season, but somehow Benzema is entering this conversation. In fact, just before the break, all Madrid fans were blaming Benzema for the reason why they were second. They kept on saying Benzema is not finishing his chances. That's why why are they searching for another goal scorer? It's because of Benzema. He doesn't have that quality. Again, that's a liability in his game. And let's also look at the fact that he, because of his bad behavior, didn't play for France. So you can't blame don't blame Giroud, blame yourself. Nobody told you to record one of your teammates. That's your problem. Again, that's another asterisk in his resume. France won the 2018 World Cup, and he wasn't there. Also, he's a sidekick, and I'm gonna dispute Yasser for one reason. He said that Benzema is going to be remembered more than Ronaldo. I disagree. Nobody remembers a sidekick. I'll ask people a few questions. Who was Maradona striker for Argentina? Who was Pele striker for Brazil? All these sidekicks are almost always forgotten, despite the amount of trophies they win. Why is that? Because people ultimately look at the main man. That's who they remember. Nobody's going to remember. I mean, people are going to remember him. Madrid fans are going to remember him. But 50 years down the line, they're not going to say, "Oh, remember what that sidekick did? How he assisted Ronaldo." They're going to look at Ronaldo's stats and they're going to be like, "Wow, this guy is a legend. He won all these trophies for us. He scored all these goals." And then they're going to look at to the side and say, "Oh yeah, this guy Benzema also played in the team." Next to two Ballon d'Or winners in Modric and Ronaldo, and one of the greatest centre backs ever in Ramos. I mean, he's going to be like he's almost going to be like the fifth player mentioned when it comes to that Madrid squad in the future.
See, Storge, I'm not, because Storge is echoing the point that I made, is that history won't favor Benzema if we focus on those three sales, because as Storge said, yes, I think he was important because I watched the games. History will look at Ramos, Modric, and Cristiano, and Bale. You know? But, sorry, so basically, Storge, round off.
Yeah, like I was saying, at first I was going to say the guy was rated even. When people started making claims that he's the reason why Ronaldo's so successful, as if Ronaldo's some type of bum without Benzema, or that he's on Lewandowski's level, I've come to the conclusion, if people are viewing him like this, he has to be overrated.
Okay. Before I come to Red Devil, says Bombasta Blaster says, if Flick trebles on his debut, Benzema may. Bayern Munich, they have a chance. I don't think they'll win the treble. I don't think Flick will win the treble. But even if he does, I don't think that's completely takes Benzema away, because he can still say he was part of those three sales. But, and this is the huge but, if Lewandowski is critical for Bayern Munich winning the CL, I think history is different, and now having a very, very different Ballon d'Or conversation. Red Devil.
Sorry, guy. I don't want to repeat what a lot of everyone has said regarding like Benzema being overrated or underrated, in a sense that I actually think a lot of this actually has to do with Zidane and the importance of like a coach that actually believes in you. So it's quite clear that since Zidane has come to, it's not that Benzema wasn't balling before Zidane came, but when you look at when you contrast Gareth Bale and Benzema, I don't think that Gareth Bale, for example, is less talented than Benzema. But I do think that Zinedine Zidane clearly has because obviously they're both French, fair enough, and they're both from region, that's fair enough. But clearly,
they're both Algerian, so
Algerian, exactly. So clearly there's an affinity sort of there, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, when you have a coach and it's not just with Benzema, with any coach that has a belief in you, irrespective of the bad patches that you have, wants to continue to play, wants to play to your strengths in particular, that has no problem with letting. It's not like Zidane begged for Cristiano Ronaldo to stay at the club, for example. But I guarantee you that if Benzema was talking about leaving, going things, that Zidane probably would have some words to say. So, again, I'm not going to track what a lot of people have already said about his Benzema's traits, being overrated, underrated, or not, because they've said pretty much what I was going to say. I just think it's just important to highlight the fact that if Zidane wasn't the Real Madrid coach, then I don't think Benzema gets this attention or gets what he needs, or he probably fades potentially into irrelevance because
he'd pretty much get less game time if Zidane wasn't the coach.
Yeah, I think he would. I don't think he would get as much game time. I don't think so. Like possibly, the coach might want to try and get another sort of forward striker in. There wouldn't be this sort of Gareth Bale issue, for example. So like I said, that's not me saying that Benzema's a bad player. I'm just sort of saying that it's obvious to anyone watching Real Madrid that Zinedine Zidane favors Benzema for obvious reasons, and that has contributed to Benzema doing what he's been doing, and that's fair enough. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, so let's come now to something that I'm sure Mr. Red Devil will enjoy. So will Mr. Saeed. So
yes.
the hype beasts. So
yes,
they are finally Red Devil. Relax. So basically, they got onto the pitch, and there are still talk of, will Pogba stay? Will he leave? Will he stay? Will he leave? Now we only saw about 20 or 25 minutes of these guys on the pitch, but it did seem as if maybe just as a hint, because we've not seen them in full 90 minutes games, but we saw like a teaser. We saw like a teaser with regards to what these guys could potentially do. So obviously the question is this the recipe for United getting back to the top? So let me start off by saying this is that first off, I don't know whether Pogba will remain at United. I still think he leaves. Let's just assume he stays. I'm very impressed by Bruno Fernandes. I'll be clean. I'll be real. I don't know how they found this dude. This is a player. You know, this is a player where every time I say, no, this is a really good find. How did no one find him? Because he's a good player, just fits what United want to do. See, my thing is, Bruno Fernandes is an attacking midfielder. They still haven't figured out the issue, because what this means is that Pogba still has to do the main legwork in central midfield. And I've always said that if you want to get the best out of Pogba, have a strong central midfield presence that allows Pogba the freedom to roam around without having the responsibility of being in the center of the midfield. But the thing though is, if McTominay, or whether it's Fred, can hold that down and he can allow Pogba and Bruno to play in the hole and combine, because really Pogba hasn't really had an inventive, imaginative number 10 to really play with. So I think it's promising, but I don't think this is the be-all and end-all. Like, these two guys will lead United back to victory, and these two guys, I don't think they're enough to break the duopoly of Liverpool and Man City. But I do think that it is at least something promising for United. But I don't know whether it's enough to keep Pogba. So before I come to eye test, so would you say Sancho better than? Yes, 100%. Sancho is better than Cristiano right now. And the only people that don't believe that are Cristiano cultists and sycophants. So yeah, he is better than him right now. So eye test before stats. Do you believe that Pogba and Bruno will form a strong partnership that will lead United back to glory? Is this the answer for United?
First of all, I want to talk about Man United in general. And I'm a United fan, by the way, yeah? And I'll tell you right now, Man United are the most overrated team in the world. Most overrated team in the world. And let me start off with this clown, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is like a man driving a car. Wait, 2 seconds. I'm a United fan, by the way, and I'm telling you, because I see what other people don't see, yeah? Let me start off with Ole. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is like a man driving a car without a license. And his two driving instructors are Carrick and McKenna, who also don't have driving license. They also don't have driving license, just like Ole. If you're going to be a manager with no experience, at least get number twos that have experience. At least do that. But instead you bring in McKenna and Carrick. Secondly, let me get onto the players right now. Daniel James. Bro, for anyone that believes white privilege doesn't exist, just know Daniel James starts for Man United. Just know Daniel James starts for Man United. This guy is dead. He has nothing but pace.
Who plays there? He
can't cross. He can't shoot.
Let's Milan, Red Devil.
He can't shoot. He can't pass. He needs to be dropped. Play Greenwood for the rest of the season. I'm telling you, he's way better than James already. And Marcus Rashford. Oh my God. People compare him to Mbappe. Bro, I like Rashford, but the way Man United fans talk about him is unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. If you do the eye test, yeah? The eye test, as my name is, yeah? He as a winger, you're expected to be you have defensive duties, yeah? Yesterday, he let Aurier overlap the whole game. Aurier was overlapping, and where was Rashford? Yeah? And let's talk about the attacking side now. He can't create. As a winger, I expect you to create. Yeah? He can't create. The guy he can't pass. I'll give you this. He does have good skills in his locker, but that's about it. He can't finish as well. You look at the goals, but if you take away all the penalties, look how many goals he has. It's not impressive. And let me talk about the Bruno and Paul Pogba partnership. For me, Paul Pogba, the way he's been disrespected at Man United is unbelievable. He's one of the only shining lights in Man United. We don't deserve him. We do not deserve Paul Pogba. And
wait. Why
Bruno
not? Why not?
Like, for me, he's been playing ever since he's come in. He's been playing with bums. Yeah, this guy should be challenging for Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, but instead he's trying to fight for top 4. Yeah, for me, I think he's the only world-class player that's playing in a struggling team. I can't think of anyone else. Yeah, and when Bruno Fernandes came in, I hear a lot of Pogba haters try to say, "Oh, Pogba should look at Fernandes. Like Fernandes has done more than Paul Pogba." Like, I like Fernandes, but the way United fans overrate him as well is unbelievable. Yesterday, the number of times he gave the ball away with useless passes was unbelievable. He's not Paul Pogba. Fernandes is a good.
Let him land.
3 months though. I mean,
Fernandes is a good player, but he's not Paul Pogba. And I'm telling you, when these two play together, Fernandes will just be the side chick. Paul Pogba will be the main man. But yes, that's my view on United. And
look, man, I mean, that is a lot of stuff to ingest and say. And Red Devil, I want you to absorb, because I know you're ready to explode, but absorb, because Red Devil, you're my anchor for this show. You're my anchor. So just absorb. But that was, man, he went in. Your boy went in.
A lot of overrated players. I could go through a lot more players, but it's gonna take a long time. Maguire, De Gea, but that.
So let's bring in your boy Erhan. So Erhan, your thoughts on Bruno and Pogba? Do you think these guys are the answer for United to get back to the top?
Well, first of all, I think the last few months has like shown me that the Manchester United fan base is probably the most like mentally unstable and like radical, insane, like crazy flipping fan base. Like the amount of like Bruno Pogba agendas that I was seeing like on flipping like on social media, it's like these guys are a political movement. Like I've never seen anything like so like, oh, Bruno Pogba. Every conversation was related to Bruno and Pogba. I've never seen anything like it. Like literally, you think that these guys are like the second coming of Jesus. Like literally, it's insane. But yeah, I mean, in terms of a partnership, for me, I think yesterday showed to me that Pogba is by far and away the best like player of the bunch, like of those two, because it was his direct approach that ultimately led to the undoing of the Tottenham defense. If we can be honest, like Fernandes, he didn't really have that much of an impact on the game. Like besides the penalty, I think he kind of met his match in terms of Mourinho's low block, and I think Uncle Mo actually had a little dig at him as well on the touchline. He was like, he was getting into his head, he was laughing at him, he was like smirking at him. So I feel like, honestly, I think Fernandes might be a player where under pressure he might tend to crack, and I think that's where we'll see his frailty will start to emerge. Whereas with Pogba, obviously he's the main dude. Like he thrives under pressure. We saw at the World Cup final, this guy's insane. So yeah, I think personally, if United could get a front three of Kante, Pogba and Fernandes, that would be perfect. Like that would be like midfield sorted, like genuinely, because I think then they would have the destroyer in Kante, who can recycle possession and allow like the Pogba and Bruno to create, and also the box to box as well with Pogba, where he can literally get up and down the pitch. Like he would be class. And obviously Chelsea are looking to sell him for some reason, like Kante. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. That's just insane. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be as good as people are hyping it up to be. Because like literally they're acting like it's going to be the best midfield partnership in football history. No way. These dudes they'll do okay. Maybe they can get Champions League football for United. They're not preparing them to the title challenge. I don't care. But Chelsea are already like trying to push there. We can't have like 4 title contenders. That's impossible. So yeah, I think they'll do okay. But like United fans, please relax. You're actually like you're killing us right now.
Okay. LB.
I think that no doubt that this is a partnership that will take Man United far in the Premier League. But look, given that, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, Paul Pogba didn't start, did he, during the last game? He was a sub and he came on. So I don't know what was the reason behind that. But given that they've recently started, all the teams have started after the isolation, it's important that we give these guys time to see how well they click. But so far I
Thank
reckon
you,
it
Obi.
looks really good. That that there is a partnership that these guys are putting together, and even though it was a draw on the I was going to say the weekend, but a couple of days ago, um, it's still important to give these guys some time. But in terms of Paul Pogba, I think he's Manchester United's most important player right now, and I mean they're going to have to do whatever they can to keep him, because I'm not sure whether Paul Pogba has plans to move, or whether he even wants to go back to maybe Juventus or even another club. If hypothetically, let's just say Manchester United don't make the top four, like what the other guy was saying previously, Paul Pogba, the quality player he is, he deserves to, to play Champions League football, to win titles. So Manchester United are going to have to do whatever they can to keep hold of him if he has intentions to move.
But do you believe that if these two click, they can send United back to the very top?
I think they certainly can. Yeah, I certainly think they can. They can definitely take them back to the top of the table. But like I said, it's important to give these guys some time as well. So yeah.
Okay. Ibro official.
Yeah, HH. There's only one reason why Pogba played well yesterday, is because he's under pressure. That's what I'll break it down as. He sees that Ollie really likes Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes is playing really well. He's scoring goals. He's contributing to the team effectively, and Pogba, as far as I'm concerned, he was pretty much lazy from the first part of the season, and Bruno Fernandes is the reason, is the kick up the ass that he needs to perform well. And I'll touch on one other thing, is that the Man United squad is imbalanced, and there's a reason why. It's because you need complementary players, and what I mean by that is that you have a right back of Wan-Bissaka, and you have a left back of what's it called again? Luke Shaw. Wan-Bissaka is the guy who's defensively strong, and you need someone else, such as how Liverpool have it, how Robertson is defensively strong, and Trent Alexander-Arnold is good with the ball, and Luke Shaw is not good with the ball. You have Harry Maguire, he's strong, and he's good with the passing. Lindelof, I don't know what he's good at. You see, Man United had a good midfield yesterday.
Lindelof is eye. He's eye, man. He's eye.
I'll say the midfield was good yesterday because you have Pogba, who's behind, and he's good with the ball. You have Fernandes, he's good with the ball, and you have a destroyer in McTominay. You have I heard Arteta say that he doesn't really like Daniel James, and Daniel James is effective in the way that Rashford is the player who comes in and tries
No.
running
But
with. He has an invert.
He's saying he's an average football player. He's an average player.
He's an average player, but he works well because Rashford has inverted runs, and Daniel James goes to the line and whips in the ball. Man United, the problem is that they don't have a tall striker that jumps and gets the headers in to try to get a header and score goals. They have like Martial, who is a short player. They need someone of a similar stature as Lukaku, in which he will score the goals like with his head. So
basically, assessment, bottom line, if they click, can both of them send United back to glory, to the very top? Yes or no?
It's a yes, because Pogba and Fernandes are both in competition because they both want to be in the attacking midfielder role, and Pogba knows that if he doesn't play well, Fernandes will play well. If Fernandes doesn't play well, he knows Pogba is chasing after him. So it's a really good balance, and if Pogba stays, Man United have a gem in the midfield that could, in potential future years, do really well for them, and they could,
Okay.
if they get a really good defensive midfielder, they could challenge for the title
Okay.
possibly
Okay.
in the
All
next
right. All
coming
right.
years.
Okay. What's it called? Jamal. Both of
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah. That midfield had me shook yesterday. I wouldn't lie. Pogba and Bruno, yeah, they're good. If they could get a quality defensive midfielder like a Thomas Partey, I mean, their midfield will be better than ours. Yeah, because I can't live in a world where Man United midfield three is Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, and Thomas Partey, and Liverpool midfield is Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, and Fabinho. So, but yeah, so that's a good midfield. But one thing I have to say about Paul Pogba, I hate reactionary fans. What Pogba did yesterday was great. He sent Dyer back to West London. He hit him a shimmy shimmy ya shimmy shimmy. It was it. It was bad. It was bad.
It was,
Right now,
it was bad. It
yeah,
was bad. It was bad. It was
it
bad.
was bad. But guys sending me Pogba is the best player in the Premier League. Pogba is the only world class player in the Premier League. I like guys. Have you even played 3 games in a row this season? I mean, fans are too reactionary, man. We all know Pogba have world class ability, and at his best, he can be tier one. But that's chill. I don't understand fans who is reactionary. And you know what, H8? I blame you because you say Alfonso Davis is the best left back in the world. But Hazard get 1 assist, and you say he's up there at Messi. So I blame you for having all these reactionary fans.
Don't call me reactionary, man. I'm a,
You
I'm a,
are, man. You
I'm a
are.
realist.
You
I'm a
are.
realist.
You are the biggest reactionary fan I have ever seen.
Jamal, relax. You're out of the Champions League. Relax, chill. Atletico Madrid, Marcos Llorente, Morata. Now, before I come to Plastic Fan, let me just hit the super chats here. Um, Daniel James's FIFA card, pace 90, everything else 0. He's a pace merchant. So, Martin Tyler, can you please apply PNP to Daniel James? Pacey, run, boy, run, Forest, run. Plastic Fan, Bruno and this dude, are they the key of unlocking United's destiny?
We will see if they are the truth. But from what I saw in the 25 minutes of them playing together, the chemistry is there, the creativity is there. Um, of course, we all know that Pogba changed the course of the game. Um, his brilliant play, he sent Eric Dyer, took his soul and sent him to hell with that move. And and
Plastic.
you see, if as you said that Pogba works best when they roam free, as he did in Juventus. That's when you get the best out of Pogba. And if United can find that central midfielder who will give Pogba the free space to combine with Bruno Fernandes, then United could potentially um, challenge for the top two, the likes of Man City and Liverpool. United, as I saw, like David De Gea this season, he has made like very, very many mistakes. Like on that first goal that Tottenham scored, the Steven Bergwijn one, he the way in which he used to catch the ball was wrong. And it's not only this time, like De Gea has been on the decline since let's say 2018, 2019. So I think United will need to buy another centre back because Maguire, like although United spent 80 million on him, like that was let's say 80 mil. Maguire's an average defender at best. We also how Steven Bergwijn took him apart in that goal. Like he couldn't catch him. He was like chasing shadows all game long. So
So
United
bottom line. Let's get to the
work
bottom line. If they
really
both click,
well
can they both send United back to
that
the glory days?
midfield of
So
if they
if
say
they both,
yes, they could send them to the glory days, but still you have a keeper who's prone mistakes. Like I can't say yes while at the back I'm not assured. You know what I'm saying right now?
Mm.
Like sure you can have a fantastic midfield, but in order for a team to challenge and win trophies, you need to get the balance right in all sectors, in the defense, in the midfield, and in the attack. Just like Liverpool. Liverpool have a solid goalkeeper, a good defense, and a functional midfield, and a great attack. So
Okay.
I'm looking at the bigger picture here. I'm not only saying that
So
because we have Bruno and Pogba in
even if
midfield,
they
they will
click, if
challenge.
the defense is crap, then this is
Yes,
what
then it's like let's say yes, we'll get top four. Like we'll be good enough to get top four, but I don't think that United will be good enough to challenge for the title if they don't get it right in at both
Okay.
ends of the field.
Okay. Okay. Now we have the fanboys. I told you I planned this to perfection. We have the fanboys. So fanboy number one, Yasir Saeed. Now, can you guys please be objective here? Please be objective. So Yasir Saeed, if they both click, can they realistically send United back to the glory days?
That's a good question. The thing is, like you look at Bruno and you look at Pogba. I mean, Bruno has done well since he got here, and I believe I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, all right. Pogba is the best midfielder in the world by far.
Reactionary.
By far. Hey. That's my opinion. Okay, respect it. Okay, respect it. Anyways, Pogba by far is the best midfielder in the world. About everyone will argue about what his best position is. No one knows what his best position is. Pogba is the complete midfielder because Pogba can play more advanced. Pogba can play as a two, a holding two, and Pogba can play box to box. So for me, Pogba and Bruno can play together because Pogba can do it all. And can he's the thing is like someone said, I think it was Jamal. He said that we need a defensive midfielder. Yes, we do. We need a Conte. We need a Thomas Partey. We need a NDD. We need that ilk of a defensive midfielder, someone that can get by himself. Because the problem with I have with McTominay and Fred is there's a reason why Ollie started them two together because they work good together. They don't work good by themselves, you know and Matic, I feel like because for me, I would start Matic because I feel like Matic is the best player we have for that position right now. And but then yeah, Matic, yep, Matic is the best player we have to play with Bruno and Pogba. But the problem with Matic is like he's getting old, man. Like we need a replacement for Matic. Um, and let me just give props to Mourinho. Mourinho got his tactics right. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if they say he was playing negative, all that, but he got his tactics right. I was very impressed with Sissoko. Sissoko, man, he was bossing that midfielder. He was destroying Fred and McTominay. And I think we need to have a hard discussion about De Gea, and we need to have a big discussion about De Gea, and we had to have a big discussion about Maguire because I feel like I don't. Then this is my opinion, and everyone is going to disagree with, it, and I don't care. But I believe Lindelof is having a better season than Maguire, and I feel like the only reason why Maguire, the only reason people because like there's an argument yesterday that Lindelof should have covered Maguire after he got spin. Listen, at that point, Bergwijn is in the box, and even if Lindelof gets there in time, if he does anything, that's a penalty. If he touches him, it's a penalty.
Wait, beside, no, focus on things. So if they click, if Pogba and Bruno click, do Man United is that enough for them to break into the duopoly of Man City and Liverpool and into Europe, or they need more than just Pogba and Bruno playing well?
But here's the thing, HH. The thing about the Premier League that is so unique is that not necessarily the best team wins the Premier League, but the most consistent team wins the Premier League. And
Okay.
if Manchester United, if Pogba and Bruno, if they are consistent and they are good at putting good performance, good performance every week, then yes. I mean, these two guys are unbelievably talented. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, like the talent they have. And then you have a Rashford, and then you have a Martial in front, and then hopefully a Jadon Sancho. So you had those three. Yes, United is going to do damage for sure.
Okay. Okay. So before I come to Red Devil Studio, guys, like the vid. It only takes you a few seconds. It costs you nothing. Just hit like on the button to show your appreciation for this lovely show, appreciation for your boy HH. Just pause for a minute and like the vid. Hit the like button. Just hit the like button. That's it. Support the thing. Costs you nothing. Takes you only like a second or so. And I will be greatly appreciative if you like the vid. Let's get to 200 likes. Let's get to 200 likes on this bad boy. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit that like button. Red Devil, are these the two guys to unlock the promised land for United? Yes or no?
Okay, hey Shage. Obviously, there's a lot building up, given that I'm last to speak. So just bear with me. Just give me a bit of time. I'm not going to speak for ages, but I do need to just address a few things. The first important thing to address is that, and this applies to all teams, not just Manchester United. But I think that we need to remember these guys have not been playing football for 3 months. Okay, they haven't even had a preseason. After the United game was getting bantered by people saying, "Oh, Martin's all this, like that," and even some United fans who were like, "Oh, this person is." I was like, yes, at times it was annoying, but you had to just sort of reel in and think, listen. There's been no preseason. It's just been the longest period that footballers have been out. For goodness, that's why even when Arsenal got battered by City, I was kind of like, yeah, but let's be real. I didn't expect them to beat City, and it's just their first game back. So we need to just bear. That's the context. We just need to bear that in mind, okay, before we go all out on certain players. Now, actually getting into the game. Okay, and a few comments that Manchester United are the most overrated team in the world. No, that's PSG. PSG are the most overrated team in the world, and Jose Mourinho right now is the most overrated manager.
Easy, relax.
I'm saying, and I'll go into that based on this game. So, because what I would agree with the first guy regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is I agree. I think going into this game, I did not think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to pick the lineup that he did and pick the formation he was going to pick. Okay, because tactically. What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has gotten consistently wrong this season, okay, is playing holding midfielders against a low block. Okay, consistency. I knew that Jose Mourinho was going to park the bus, and he did. He parked elephants, he parked taxis, he parked airplanes. Jose Mourinho parked the bus completely, okay, for most of that game. You don't play Fred and McTominay, okay, if you want to break teams down. Okay, you don't. And Daniel James, who people think, I'm not saying Daniel James is great. We do need to do better. And Daniel James himself has said, I didn't expect to be starting all the time. He said that. That came from his mouth. So there's something going on behind the scenes regarding recruitment, regarding coaching, that you don't play someone who actually, in his previous club, was a left winger, not a right winger, as first choice right winger. So, I can't be too critical on Daniel James when he's not playing in the position that he was playing previously, and he didn't expect to be first choice. But regardless, because he is a pace merchant, because he runs into space, you can't play that player against a low block team, against teams that are going to put so many men behind the ball. That's why
you need a dribbler.
Yeah, it worked against City, no problem. If you watch the City games, it worked great against Manchester City because we've got plenty of space. Hence why we beat Manchester City 3 times. Hence why we beat Chelsea 3 times, because you give us that space. It worked, but not against low block teams, So, and it's frustrating that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't see that. Now, just a few things. De Gea, needs to be under review. I agree. So that's something that needs to be addressed, especially when you have likes of Henderson, who's been performing well at Sheffield United, and Romero, who's done fairly decent in Europa League. From a defensive point of view, if Eric Bailly is playing in that centre-back pairing, we don't concede that goal. Why? Because Lindelof and Maguire, I don't think Lindelof Maguire is still, again, bearing in mind 3 months out, we need to bear that in mind. But even before the timeout, both of those players don't have pace. You need to have a defender. It's not just about getting on a defender. You need to get in a defender who actually has pace, recovery pace. And if Eric Bailly plays in that centre-back pairing, we don't concede that goal because Eric Bailly catches up to Bergwijn and he clears it. Or gives a penalty, but he probably would clear it. From a midfield point of view, going to the question of Pogba and Bruno Fernandes playing together, what Pogba did, I'm not going to be one of those United fans that's going to say Pogba is the best, because I agree with what a lot of people say in that it's about consistency. It's about consistency, so he's very talented. He is definitely one of our best, if not potentially our best player. But of course, it's about consistency. It's about delivering. However, you also need to have those players around that player. And Pogba was guaranteed to have those players at him at the club, and he wasn't provided with those players. What I would say, though, is that when you have, and this is something that many people have mentioned, that when you have someone like a proper defensive midfielder, CDM, so that Pogba doesn't necessarily have to be as deep. When Fernandes, if you watch the game, so I'm rambling here, but at times, because we didn't have a proper CDM who could actually pass, you had to find that Fernandes, certainly Bruno Fernandes the first, had to come deep, so deep to bring the ball forward. When Matic actually came on, that didn't happen. And you saw that Pogba and Bruno Fernandes were playing further up the field. Matic has to play in the holding midfielder role because Matic calms things down in the midfield, actually knows how to pass, and allows Pogba to go forward, and it allows Bruno Fernandes to sort of stay, around, stay more or less around the box. So that CDM position, that proper CDM position, is vital, as is the right wing position. Now, lastly, when it just comes to forwards, I know a lot of people are battering like Rashford and Martial and stuff like Rashford's not this much, not like that. Again, they haven't played them for a while. And shout out to Marcus Rashford, by the way, for bricking.
But Red Death, but remember,
yeah,
the key points here, because again, this isn't a United breakdown, because I know you were trying to reel me in. I'm now reeling you out.
Yeah, okay.
If Pogba and Bruno Fernandes can combine and really perform at a high level, will that be enough for United to properly challenge City and Liverpool, and for them to now make a big impact in Europe, or do they need more than them just? Playing well.
I do think they need more. I guess what I'm saying is that like we're one of the few teams to take points of Liverpool this season, and we've beaten Manchester City 3 times this season. That was without Pogba and Bruno Fernandes to a certain extent. So Manchester United Football Club clearly can't be that far away. The issue with
Chelsea too.
And Chelsea 3 times, of course. Yep. So the way that people talk about Manchester are completely far away. How can we completely be far away if we've done that? The problem with Manchester United this season has been their inability to break down low block teams. And that is not because we don't necessarily have the players now. It's because tactically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for whatever reason, seems to like to play 2 holding midfielders against these types of teams. And in terms of a striker, and I think you mentioned on your post-match reaction, Igalo would have actually suited this game. Because Martial and Rashford, their hold-up play isn't that great, and they're not that physical. You put Igalo against Dyer and their centre-backs and stuff like that, he could hold up the ball. I'm not saying Igalo's world-class, but I'm just saying you need that type of player who can actually go against these low-block teams and do stuff. That helps. So in conclusion, we do, but we need better tactics, and I don't think Ole Gunnar.
But let me ask. So just before we go on for this, because this is my thing, and maybe people are wrong. You want to get the best of Pogba if he's restricted to being the central midfielder who dictates play. If you look at Juventus, Pogba moved all around, and Vidal and Pedro took care of central midfield. If you look at France, Pogba moved all around. It was Kanté and Matuidi doing it, and it was a pragmatic system. It wasn't a possession-based system, it wasn't an attack system. Deschamps' thing is a pragmatic-based system of we take in pressure and we just hit you with our guys. But Solskjaer is trying to play a progressive, possession-based counter-attacking system, and he wants to be central midfield. So can it work where Pogba now has to do the central midfield role, which I don't think is the strongest role, and Bruno Fernandes is attacking midfield. Will that work? Yes or no?
If that's if that's Solskjaer's idea, I'm not sure whether it is. I mean, certainly in the first 12 games when Pogba was playing, that wasn't how Pogba was playing. So I don't know what's changed. But if what you said is what Solskjaer's idea is, and of course it's not going to work because, as you said, Pogba doesn't play like that, and that's why, like I said, you need someone like Nemanja Matic, you need someone like Bruno Fernandes, for example. You need those players there to do their specific roles, so that Pogba can basically do his. If you insist on playing McTominay and Fred and benching Pogba, then no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
Red Devil.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, am I delusional to say that if we would have started Pogba, we would have not won that game? Because I believe this game was tailor made for Pogba, in my opinion.
If we started Matic, Fred, and Bruno, then possibly, but not Fred and McTominay together. That's, I guess, my point. Like, you don't play two holding midfielders together who frankly can't pass. They can't pass well at all, those two. They've got great energy, they're physical, they're tall, they're aggressive, but they can't pass, they can't create creativity. They can't create anything, there's no creativity. You can't play those two together. So I would play Fred, Fernandes and Matic, or Matic, Pogba, and Fernandes, but don't play Fred and McTominay together.
All right. Okay, so let's roll with this. Homeboy now. So my favorite dude, man. He was benched for Braithwaite. First off, shout out to your boy Braithwaite.
Yeah.
See, people, whenever I talk about Griezmann, people keep bringing up the World Cup. I think Arbeloa is a World Cup winner. Now, granted, of course, Griezmann did a lot more than Arbeloa. And of course, Griezmann did a lot more than Capdevila. Of course, Griezmann did a lot more than Stefan Givash. But I need people to stop bringing up that response whenever I say Griezmann really ain't that good. Okay, Brickman isn't really that good. I think this guy, he's a class C brick right now. And even when you look at this picture, the guy looks like a retired French hairdresser. But my thing is this: can we now just come out and say this is officially a failure? Because I don't actually see where, because this is making Barcelona look really bad, because this is Coutinho, this is Kevin Prince Boateng, and now this. And here's my thing, because I think for what I want to ask is like, what is the issue? What do you think the problem is? And this is what I think, and I want to hear what you guys think. Griezmann can't adapt. It's either this role or nothing. Griezmann only works in a pragmatic team where there's a support striker, and he has specific role as the support striker, nothing more in a pragmatic team. Atletico Madrid, France, Deschamps and Simeone, these are pragmatic philosophies that utilize a support striker, which is perfect for Griezmann, because Griezmann isn't quick, he isn't fast, he doesn't have good balance on the ball where he can beat 2, 3, 4, 5 players at one point. He's good at taking up good positions and being able to run into the box and so forth. And do you know what is crazy? Who is Griezmann similar to? Lautaro Martinez. They're both similar players. So if they get Lautaro Martinez, they'll probably run into the same kind of issues that they have here, because the issue here is Barcelona's 4-3-3. There's no place for Griezmann in a 4-3-3. Because where does he play? He can't play out wide. He can't play as a striker. So therefore, he's just lost. So see, the mistake was this. And this is why I say don't bring up the World Cup. The mistake was, World Cup winner was one of the key players for France. Oh my gosh, yes, get him. But people need to look beyond what trophies a guy want to say, what is this kind of player? What is the characteristic of this kind of player? And how does this guy play? Because I could only tell that from Griezmann that, see, if you're willing, now, just because Barcelona are not willing, if Barcelona are willing to radically change their system and radically change their formation, Griezmann can walk. So if you have a striker, Griezmann plays behind him, and Messi is being given a free role to roam, I think it can work. Where Barcelona say, we have two strikers. A striker, and Griezmann now is the spotted striker, and Messi, you're the playmaker where you can play wherever you want. But what is happening is it's like a 4-3-3. And Griezmann is either put out wide or just somewhere where we don't know where the hell this guy is. So until Barcelona completely change their formation, which I don't think they will do, especially on the setting, until they change their philosophy, change their system and so forth to try and cater for a guy they paid a lot of money for, this is destined to fail. So, Erhan, Griezmann, what do you think the issue is, man?
Honestly, I think he's too big for his boots to begin with. Like, this guy has an ego through the roof. He thinks he's like the best player in the history of football. Like, he's acting like, because he's come to Barcelona, he can do what he wants. And I think the coach at Barca has seen that this guy, his mentality isn't right. And another the other big thing is as well, literally Simeone made this guy's career. The system at Atletico was so perfectly suited to him because of the fact that he was always a support striker. He always had someone next to him who was like far superior in terms of goal scoring ability, like the likes of Diego Costa, in his prime, Fernando Torres even. These guys literally, like without them, he would be very lost, up front. Like his presence is very limited in games. That's what I've noticed with him. Like he can literally like get lost, and you won't even notice he's playing at times. Like literally, like he can't really stamp his authority on the game. He relies on like other guys just like literally just providing for him, and he's just really poor, man. And he acts like he's won like flipping like everything in the world. Like, I know you have a World Cup, but like show some ambition, man. Like you come to Barcelona, like
So do you think he should return back to at Atletico, move to Inter, or stay with Barca?
I mean, I don't see him returning to Atletico because I think that would be like a signal of failure. That would be like him essentially giving up. I don't think he would want to look weak like that, because literally if he goes back to Atletico, it'll be like saying to Simeone, help me, like I need you kind of thing. So I don't think his ego can really cut that. So yeah, I mean, probably Inter Milan maybe would probably be the best destination for him if they can, negotiate a swap deal between him and Lautaro. As much as it wouldn't make sense for Barcelona to do it, I think in terms of like Inter Milan, it would probably suit Griezmann because I think he would work very well with Lukaku because Lukaku's a big guy, and Griezmann he's smaller, so he could probably play off him quite well. But then even then, man, I think this guy just like he doesn't really care about football. I think he's got his own like personal achievement.
He wants to move to the MLS. He's already said that he wants to move to America to retire.
Weird.
Yeah, that explains the ponytail. He thinks he's Ibra, literally. Beta Ibra.
Okay.
Hey, Chish, can I go next? By the way, I gotta go soon. So.
Okay. Go for it.
Man, this Griezmann guy is. I don't hate footballers, but I hate a few footballers, and Griezmann is one of the guys I hate because you just gotta. Why are you wasting your career? Like you should know better. Like this guy doesn't fit at Barcelona. Would never fit at Barcelona, and he doesn't even have the attitude that I'm gonna. Okay, I know I can't play at my preferred position, but I'm gonna do my best to play the role that the team wants me to play. At the end of the day, this is Barcelona. This is not Atletico Madrid. You're not the man. Messi is. So, like at the end of the day, you're not the Messi. Messi is the man. You're like HH mentioned. You're a side piece. That's what you're gonna be. So you gotta own up to it. So you have to be like, okay, all right. I'm gonna do the best I can to play the role that Saint Etienne and Barcelona wants me to play, which is on the flanks, which is either on the right or the left, because you're not going to play in the middle. So, I mean, there's a reason why they bought a striker. There's a reason why they keep
Suarez. Don't you think Saint Etienne should change the system to fit in this side check?
But you can't. The reason why you can't is because this team is built around Messi, not built around Griezmann. It will never be built around Griezmann. So the fact that you literally have to change your whole system just to fit Griezmann in makes no sense. Because Griezmann is not the star man. If it was Atletico Madrid, that's different because Griezmann fits perfectly in Atletico Madrid. They play to him. He fits perfectly. But in Barcelona, and this is what happens when you go to a big club, is that at the end of the day, when you go to a big club, you fit in their system, not you. Like they don't just take you and like try to force you in. No, you if you right away if you don't a position that you are given to and you don't own up to it, then you're gonna. It's the same thing with Coutinho. What did Coutinho expected when he went to Barcelona? Like it's the same situation. It's like you're literally there. We bought you Griezmann because we believe that you're literally Neymar's replacement. So we want you to do the same exact job that Neymar has done. And Griezmann,
Neymar's replacement? What?
yes, Barcelona bought Griezmann to be Neymar's replacement. Let's be real.
They didn't.
They,
No.
they, in my opinion, they did.
I thought
They
it was
have
Dembele. Dembele wasn't Dembele supposed to be
them.
named with the
Okay, listen. Dembele, Coutinho, Griezmann, 3 players to replace 1 man called Neymar. Listen, they Barcelona ideally wanted to have Messi, Suarez, Griezmann, or Messi, Suarez, Dembele, or whatever. Messi, Suarez, Coutinho. They wanted those. That's the front 3, 4-4-3. That's what they want.
So bottom line, what should happen? This is where we are right now. What should happen?
Go to Paris. Go to PSG. That's the best. Go back to France. You're not like you're that's where you're from. Go back to France. Go there. They will accept you. They will love you. You mean Griezmann? You're the French people. They love you because you played. You won a World Cup for them. They will cherish you. Go to PSG. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because where else is he gonna go? Were you really gonna go from Barcelona to Inter Milan? I mean, come on, it makes no sense. I mean, and he would not want to leave Barcelona. Barcelona has good weather, by the way. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people want to leave Barcelona or Madrid.
Okay.
Beautiful weather.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for letting me in the show. Yeah.
Peace on.
Take care, buddy. Take care.
Wait. Let me bring it. So before I come to LB in here, this is interesting because I had to sort of get my head around it because I think Brazil normally do it. So 4-4-2 diamond, Cannibal and Thingy up front. So what I think he's saying is, in that diamond, at the top of the key would be Messi, who would pretty much be the playmaker. And then you just have a 2-striker setup of the Cannibal in there, and then you have Griezmann over there. For me, it's just that Saint-Étienne is just a dude from the road. And he's a stooge who still believes that he still thinks it's 2010. But if you're a manager, the whole point of a manager is you have to manage a situation. So don't bury your head in the sand of like, oh no, this is Barcelona 4-3-3, tiki-taka. No. What's it's not working. It's simply not working. What they're doing it's not working now. And as a manager, your job is to win games. It's not to put your philosophy. No, your job is to win games by any means necessary. Win games. And my thing about it is change the formation. Messi is a very talented dude that can do a lot on a pitch. So I don't think there are many formations where Messi cannot, because Messi said, just give me the ball, I'll do something. Change the damn formation. Create a role where there's a supporting striker, because this is the only way this dude can play. Why do they even persist on playing him on the wing when he can't play on the wing? It obviously doesn't work. Man, all right. LB, Griezmann, talk.
Well, Barcelona are never going to change their philosophy to suit Griezmann. I reckon that's
then they're stupid.
Yeah, it's never going to happen in a million years. Like what the previous person was saying, Barcelona revolve around Messi. They're going to obviously prioritise Messi ahead of anyone else. As for Griezmann, I still to this day ponder why he had left Atletico Madrid. I think he may have thought that Atletico Madrid were done and Simeone was done as a coach and he was going to move on. But if anything, I mean, they did lock out Liverpool in Champions League, so they're still doing well over the 2-leg games or the competitions with two legs, such as the Champions League. And if we look at Griezmann and how he performed for Atletico Madrid, especially during that 2015-16 season when they made the Champions League final, he fitted perfectly into that system. The team that was soaking up the pressure defensively and broke on the counter. It's a philosophy and the style of play in which Simeone has continued to implement that's worked so well for this club and has worked so well for Griezmann when he was there. So I reckon he should go back to Atletico Madrid. He's not going to have his long-term friend in Diego Godin there anymore because obviously he's at Inter Milan. But I think he should go back to Atletico Madrid under the coaching of Diego Simeone because Simeone has definitely helped Griezmann become the player he is today.
Okay. So what about Inter Milan?
Perhaps. I mean, it really depends on Griezmann and his priorities as well. I suppose if he's willing to move to Italy and try something new, but I reckon he should prioritise an offer from Atletico Madrid if it's there ahead of Inter Milan.
Okay. So let me bring in your boy. So Ibra, Griezmann, talk on it.
Like I said with the Man United players, the reason why Griezmann ain't doing well is because he doesn't have a player that complements him well. He would do well with Inter Milan because he would have someone like if you look at it in theory, Lukaku is similar to Giroud in the sense that he's a tall player that will hold up the ball for Griezmann or Lautaro and play it to them so they can do their magic. And the problem is with Griezmann is that he's trying to do what Messi is doing, and Messi's got Barcelona in his pocket. He basically runs Barcelona. He's president, he's captain, he's player, he's manager, he's everything. Because I don't know why. I really don't know why, but Griezmann, he needs to find a team that plays pragmatic style because that's the only system that we will actually do well in.
Okay. Boxing guy. All right. Plastic fan. Okay. Stodge.
Yeah, Griezmann. I rate Griezmann. I think he's a good player. He's a very good player. I mean, he obviously did it at Atletico. He did it at the World Cup. He had the most Man of the Match awards for France. He had 3 Man of the Matches, more than Mbappe and any other player. So yeah, he was a good player. But what happened is he fell for the Barcelona dream. For the last couple of seasons, Barcelona have been selling players a myth. They've been telling players that you're going to be important, you're going to do well, but all they've done is ruin careers. They've turned Dembele into a hospital patient, who's even a bigger flop. I mean, we know about Coutinho. I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. They keep on selling these players with dreams, but obviously there's something horribly wrong with Barcelona. I don't know if it's Messi. I don't know if it's management. There's something wrong though, because all these players before going to Barcelona, they're very good. As soon as it's Barcelona, suddenly they're flops. So there has to be something wrong. So with him, I don't think it's going to work with Barcelona because number one, Messi doesn't like him. It's clear none of the players want to pass the ball to him, which is a big issue that nobody wants to discuss. I've noticed in matches, players are looking to avoid him. I've seen Messi many times where he could give Griezmann a through ball, and he refuses to give Griezmann that ball. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's because I remember Griezmann created a documentary where he said, "I rejected Barcelona." I don't know if that's why they dislike him. Who knows? But it's not going to work out in Barcelona. And for Inter Milan, if Inter Milan pull this off, they're geniuses. If Inter Milan managed to get 100 million for Lautaro Martinez and get a much better player in Griezmann. They are geniuses. I mean, I just want to find out if Barcelona is actually that dumb to let go of a
They can't be
second
that
striker. They both play the same position.
They surely can't be that stupid.
I mean,
pray they're not that stupid.
Yeah, can I go?
Honestly, that's the rumors I'm hearing.
Finish your point.
Yeah, that's the rumors I'm hearing. Like, you know, if this guy goes to Inter Milan, he's an upgrade. He's a better player in Lautaro. He has more experience. He can score more goals, and he gets to play with a very strong forward, which is Lukaku. It's a perfect fit, actually. And yeah, Griezmann is a good player, man. Don't fall for this. The next player that goes to Barcelona will also be a flop. So people look in the mirror, face the mirror, and they notice what the image is, which is Messi. Messi's clearly controlling the club. He's doing something where all these players are flopping. I don't know if it's a style of play, but there's something wrong. You can't tell me all these £100 million players, which all these clubs want, as soon as they enter Barcelona, all of a sudden they're all flops. Something's wrong.
Okay, before I come over to Jamal, let me just say this. Can we talk about his... First of all, thank you very much. Thank you for the support, Daniel Jones. Can we talk about his fortnight celebrations? Let's not. Because the thing about Griezmann and his fortnight celebrations and his Drake celebration is, I think as someone already said, he doesn't really care about football, really. Because you know what? I think he probably likes the NBA and basketball and blacking up a lot more than football. So I think he wants to get to that American market. And I think even just his mannerisms and you just look at his celebrations and so forth, he's almost similar to Zad in the case of, it is what it is, laissez-faire. And you can't have that attitude at Barcelona because Barcelona are a club that they demand the highest. Because remember, not much was demanded of him from Atletico. In France, you've got Mbappe, you've got Pogba, you've got Kante, you've got Umtiti, so you could just be part of the whole thing. Now the spotlight is on him and you now need to really show up and be that dude. I don't think he can handle it. Jamal.
Yeah. First, before I talk, shout out a fellow Trinidadian, Nix. Yeah. Guys, you know, stats raise are very interesting point, and I never really clocked it until now. Barcelona get finessed 3 times in a row. they buy Dembele for 100 million. Then they break their record on Coutinho for 140 million. And then they buy a side chick for 150 million. And guys, they're gonna buy Lautaro Martinez for 100 million again. Barcelona can get it for this.
No. Jamal, what your club did to Barcelona, I rank it as top 3 finesses in football history. Top 3 finesses in football history. What it did to Barcelona with Coutinho, top class finesse.
And I know I checked the stats just now. Between Coutinho, Dembele, and Griezmann, they have only registered 22 goals combined for 300 million worth of players. That is embarrassing. But I don't know what's wrong with Griezmann. It looked like he's not enjoying football again. It's like Barcelona take his soul out of him. He don't smile, he don't move. I don't know. I'm worried about Griezmann, man. I don't know what Barcelona did to him, but he's not looking right now. Like, he don't even celebrate, he don't smile. I don't know. But Griezmann should leave because it's either a messy way or a highway. So I don't know what's going on with him, man. He looks...
Okay. So where should he go then? Where should he go?
I feel he should go PSG. Reason why is because he's French, and plus he needs to enjoy football again. Maybe he and Neymar could, link up, and 2 of them characteristics is the same, so maybe he might enjoy playing with Neymar. But yeah, he needs to leave Barcelona because I'm worried about Griezmann. And the guy, how long he hasn't smiled, it's like Barcelona take his soul away from him. It's very troubling.
Okay.
It's me.
Plastic fan.
Plastic fan.
What is it? Okay, sorry. Red Devil.
Okay. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I feel like we need to maybe lay off Griezmann a bit. I'm maybe just trying to think from the player's perspective. So, and I think that certainly in the last maybe 5 years, I feel like Barcelona, and I think maybe it's due to the lack of Champions League ambitions or whatever, seem to always try and find a scapegoat. You know, like it's Coutinho, then it's Dembele, and now obviously that both of those players are away, it's now Antoine Griezmann as
So you're saying
well.
this is a much bigger problem than just one
Yeah,
player?
no, of course it is, because like at the end of the day, like again, I'm thinking of from the player's perspective here, you know, so not from the fans' perspective, from the player's perspective. From the player's perspective, he was at Atletico Madrid. Frankly, Atletico Madrid were not going to be close to competing for a title or competing for a Champions League anytime soon. He wanted to leave Barca, okay, because he wanted to win trophies. Same reason why at times we get him. Pogba wants to win trophies. Big players who feel that they're talented, who want belief, want to move to big teams to win trophies because that's what people ultimately remember. So that is reasonable. That is fair enough. And at the end of the day, Barcelona pursued. Okay, it's not that Griezmann like stood outside of the new camp was like, you know, come sign me. Barcelona actually went behind closed doors, behind their back, undermining Atletico Madrid somewhat illegally, and got it. So let's not, you know, you know, Antoine Griezmann is sort of positive. So like Barcelona went out and pursued him. Did Barcelona need to go out and pursue him? Did they think, is he going to fit into the system? Did they think about the manager they were going to bring into the system? No, they didn't. So how much of this can we really lay? Has it worked out? No, but it didn't work out for Coutinho. Dembele is still a question mark. And the fact that you're now relying on a youth academy product in Ansu Fati and Braithwaite, who's come from the bottom of the league, you know, so like
don't forget Puig. Don't forget Puig.
Puig. Is that Griezmann's fault as well? No, of course it's not Griezmann's fault. That is Barcelona Football Club, you know. So for me, from the player's point of view, like, you know, I don't have any issue with his decision of wanting to leave Atletico Madrid to go to Barcelona if ultimately he wanted to go and win trophies, because he wasn't going to win trophies staying at Atletico Madrid and seeing that his career is almost over. You know, do I think from a perspective, I think for him, if he's thinking about football, if he wants to, you know, get his career on the bench, I do think a move to Inter Milan, that swap that I mentioned last week, I think with Lautaro Martinez and thing might actually work. And obviously the Italian league, it could work, who knows? But yeah, no, I just think that I feel that, you know, especially, I don't know if it's the Spanish press, I don't know what it is, but it just seems that almost every year there is always a scapegoat that is chosen, and this year it just happens to be Griezmann. And as soon as Griezmann leaves, it will be someone else that isn't Messi. And that's not because Messi is not the issue. Sorry, I'm not saying Messi is the issue, but I'm saying that it just seems that like there's more scapegoatism with Griezmann than it is actually looking at the deep issues that are Barcelona Football Club.
Let me ask you this then.
But he's been trash, man. He's been trash. Have you actually watched him?
So
No,
wait,
Yeah.
so would you admit that he is limited with regards to his adaptability, where he can only play one specific role, and this is proof that he can only play one specific role? Or you just think that Barcelona was just a wrong move, that he could maybe work at a Liverpool?
Yeah, no, this is the thing. I agree. I like. Don't get me wrong. I agree with what a lot of guys said, that it hasn't worked. That like Antoine Griezmann has not played well at Barcelona at all. What I'm trying to sort of say is that like that is not all on him. That is on like the owners are the ones that buy the players. Okay, and the manager, you know, how good is Saint-Etienne really? The coach is the one who has the players week in, week out, does training sessions, picks the team, picks the formation, communicates with the players. Like that isn't something that Antoine Griezmann is in control over. So, you know, do I think he could play better? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just sort of saying that like you need to bear in mind who the coach is, and you need to bear in mind what the upper tier of management is. And the fact is, both of those systems have failed. They're failed, and I completely understand why Antoine Griezmann left, because he wanted to get trophies, and I don't think you can hold that against him. That's basically my point.
So before we just sort of, so this is just what I've sort of. Oh, you prick. Okay, wait, sorry. This is what I have come up with. Let me show you this. Well, You guys, I was just trying to just okay, how does this thing, how will this work? How will this work? And I come up with something like this.
Hey, Chich, are we talking now with Cristiano today?
What?
Are we talking about Cristiano? Yes,
We're not. I value
I need to say something about it.
easy. I value my sanity. But I'll say a brief thing. So why can't this work? So you have him, and shout out to Zara N for suggesting it. Top of the keeper, look, he can go wherever he wants. You have him as a main striker. You have him just occupying this position here. You've got two great midfielders who can hold up the ball up. Busquets there. These guys provide the width, because we all know that Barcelona normally dominates possession, normally are the aggressor in teams, and if ever they lose the ball, you have these smart guys like Busquets who can easily just recycle the ball, or they can press them. So you have your width in Jessica Alba and Semedo. Messi occupies his position here and he can do whatever the hell he wants, but the side chick maintains that position over there. So I don't see why this can't work. But again, as people have said, Barcelona's issue is, first of all, I think they shouldn't have hired Setien, because Setien is people say, wait, I said no width. I just said the width are with these dudes here. That's where your width comes from. And so, because really what you want to do is, and how Barcelona normally play is through the center, through intricate passes, through the center, looking for the through ball or looking for the 1-2 and for Messi to take a shot out of there. And if the center is congested, you can then go out. You don't need a dude out here. You don't need a dude out here. You don't. Basically, it's about changing your whole philosophy of how you want to roll. And you have to be imaginative. There is no, okay, we must have three guys, we must have a guy that plays out wide. You don't need that. And this is what it looks like on paper, but maybe during games, Griezmann may have to go out wide. He may have to go out wide. But so that's what it will be. In practice, these guys may venture out wide, but primarily what you want is for the cheddar to happen through here. But the key thing is you've bought a player for this amount of money, and I'll keep it real. The side check in support striker is very good. So change your system and your formation to try and accommodate him, and you can do it without upsetting your prized assets, which is Messi, because it still allows Messi to give in a free role. It works. So we wanted to talk about. Look, let me just say something about Cristiano, okay? Because I know that there are fanboys out there.
Goat.
Say this. Let me just say this.
Can I speak?
He's finished.
Can I speak?
Oh, sorry, Plastic Fan, you want to speak? Go for it. Okay, Plastic Fan, go for it. But keep it brief. Go for it.
Is mic working?
Yes, as I
Yeah, your mic is being a bit iffy. Go for it.
About Griezmann. Okay. As I was saying about Griezmann, Barcelona should switch the formation and find a way to make him fit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
As I was saying about Griezmann, Barcelona need to switch formation. They need to find a formation that clearly suits him. Because the 4-3-3 formation isn't clearly working for him. Because the 4-3-3 formation isn't clearly working, so he has to be in good form in order for the Euros. So I think for Griezmann, if he sees that it's not going well for Barcelona, then he has to make the move so as to help himself.
Okay.
So that he can be in good form when the Euros come. So that's all.
Okay.
They're not going to make the changes.
Let me just drop something because we have to sort of round off quickly. Let me just say something very brief about Cristiano. And some guys may don't want to accept this or admit this. Cristiano, I will never deny that until he retires, there is always a goal in him. There is always a goal in this dude, and you will never ever deny that he can always somehow find a goal from somewhere. This is the reality. He isn't the same player. So people holding on to him being top 2, top 3, one of the best in the world, you're delusional. You're delusional. That dude I saw against Napoli, that's an average player. Like, I'll keep it real with you.
Oh,
When Cristiano doesn't score, I can't rank him. I'm sorry, he's unranked.
True.
So,
Facts.
because I can't call him tier 3 when he passes sideways, he doesn't dribble past anyone, he may do one cross a game, he gets dispossessed, he passes the ball back, it looks nasty. And this is using the eye test. And this is what I've always said, that if goals dry up, it looks nasty. So Martin Rosario, shout another, he's your hero, FG, shout wherever you are. He is on the decline, which happens. It happens, it's real. But he still has a goal in him. So Jamal, you wanted to speak on this. Please be brief and please be nice.
Yeah, I'll be brief. All I was going to say is 2020 has been a bad year, but Cristiano Ronaldo could bring it back if he could beat a man. When was the last time Cristiano has dribbled? In 2020, Cristiano stayed in the box. Why are you still trying Christy Chops?
no, against
We are
Roma.
in 2020. I don't understand it. Yeah, one thing I'd say, Cristiano is like a 65-year-old man buying Viagra to go and deal with a chick. That is what Cristiano is. In 2020,
come
stay
on.
in the box and do not dribble. You are 35. Please, it is bad and it is embarrassing to stay. Stay in the box.
Oh, no. But see, if I was advising Cristiano, and I blame Sarri. I say, Cristiano, forget dribbling, forget that. Don't even worry about that. Just you're there to finish. Get yourself in position. We'll do what you're gonna do. Get yourself in position and finish, because it's honestly, look, it's painful to watch. Whatever he tries to do is step over, and he trips over himself, or he gets dispossessed. It's like, I feel awful. I feel bad, because I'm like, bro, you're 35. Your legs just aren't. It's biology. Your legs
HH.
aren't sharp anymore.
But HH, you don't think he's just rusty coming off isolation?
Yeah, exactly.
He was.
doing
No. I've been watching games. I've been watching pretty much most of his Serie A games. It's the same thing. He may complete maybe one dribble, but for most of the time, it's sideways passes. The ball goes backwards, and he just isn't as quick. Because see, here's the difference. At Real Madrid, they played quick, they played fast. I remember Real Madrid had better IQ midfielders and better passers who could utilize the ball. So how much did Cristiano really dribble for Real Madrid? Not much, because all he had to do was get into position. But Juventus don't have.
No.
So the ball is not being given to him at his feet, forcing him to now try and defeat the low block with the dribble, which he can't do.
So is this more a system thing? Does he actually work in Sarri's system as opposed to like?
He doesn't basically. And this is like the obvious thing. He doesn't he doesn't work in Sarri's system. He does like a possession-based system with Cristiano.
I'd like to say something.
All right, go Storch. Go for it, Storch.
Yeah.
very quick.
Wait.
Yeah.
Storch.
Yeah, I still rate Ronaldo. I think he's obviously a brilliant goal scorer, and nowadays he's a striker. Remember that he's a striker. You keep on comparing him to the past. Obviously, Ronaldo's one of the GOATs. You can't compare him. He's an old man now. But listen to this. You said that he can't dribble against players, and that's why he's unranked as a striker. I want to ask you a question. How many strikers can even dribble? That means 99% of strikers are unranked, in your opinion, because they can't dribble. Because I'm looking at these guys.
Benzema
They can't dribble.
The cannibal can dribble. So yeah.
He can't, not Ronaldo's still a better dribbler than Cannibal. And plus, Ronaldo has 20. He's a better dribbler than the Cannibal. Come on. The Cannibal can barely. No, he's a better dribbler than the Cannibal even today.
Bro, even today.
And Ronaldo, obviously, right now he's
today. So I don't know where you're smoking. Okay. Wait, easy guys. Wait, let me just hit the super thing.
Also, did you not see his run against Roman? Brilliant.
Okay, wait, let me just hit the super chat. So from Ibra official says HH, the player that would help Griezmann is Kane. Yeah, I agree. Because Kane is similar to Lukaku, someone that he can help to bounce off of, similar to Diego Costa. Guys, it's been swell, it's been real, it's been cool. I will see you guys tomorrow. Aston Villa against Chelsea post match.
Don't underestimate it. Don't underestimate it.
Red Devil, shush. And then of course we have we'll have the Everton Liverpool post match, and of course Real Madrid, Real Sociedad post match on Sunday, because I'm sure your boy Red and your boy Montaha will be there. If Real Madrid drop points, I'm inducting Montaha and Red. Guys, peace out, stay true.
Cristiano as they come.
Peace out.
Take care.
Become a Football Hut member and gain access to cool emojis on the live streams and get access to new YouTube content by clicking the join button here. And to view that new content, head over to the YouTube channel homepage and click on the community tab over here.